And we are live, guys. Hey, guys, thanks again for being here with us. Today I have Professor Drew Peterson, right,
Hey,
right out of Lima, Peru. One of the guys that I have like an honor to say that I was the one that put a black belt on his waist back in 2017 or 2016, right?
17.
17, man. It's been 3 years
December
already.
December 27th. I will not remember that day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to be talking, Drew. We're going to be talking about, I want to talk to you about Jiu-Jitsu, of course, but we're going to talk about your life in Peru, in Lima, right? Moving from US to a
Right.
third world country.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, pretty much about that. About Jiu-Jitsu, about your life, like business, of course. I want to know a little bit about business. Okay,
For sure.
sounds good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, excited.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit because maybe somebody like never met you before from here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Drew Peterson. I am a black belt under Reginald Almeida, Gracie Baja. I've been a black belt, and we already talked about this, but since 2017, right at the end though. I mean, it's 2018. It was like 4 days until 2018. And yeah, I've been training since 2009. I started training in Tennessee, and that's where I kept training. Yeah, I live in Lima, Peru now. I'm an English and Spanish teacher online. Got my own business down here. It's called Languaging with Drew. And yeah, enjoying life, hanging out, eating ceviche.
Eating what?
Ceviche.
Ceviche. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I go first. Okay. My first question. The first question is, how did you find jiu-jitsu? How did you start jiu-jitsu?
Okay. Okay. Funny enough, I have the same question for you. But okay. So I got started in 2009. It was my last year. Well, no, it was 2008 actually when I did my first jiu-jitsu class. So my brother had been in college. He went to Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and he was training with a Japanese jiu-jitsu guy. What was his name? I can't remember now.
In
Uh,
Murfreesboro?
yeah, Murfreesboro.
Japanese guy. Okay.
Well, no, it wasn't Japanese. It was Japanese jiu-jitsu. So I mean, it was
Oh,
Jap.
gotcha.
It wasn't Brazilian jiu-jitsu. The guy
Gotcha.
had been
Okay.
ranked under a guy who was doing Japanese jiu-jitsu. Um, and basically, my brother came to me, and he had watched some UFC and he'd done some research online. And he said, it's the most. I can always remember this. He said it's the most effective fighting style. And he talked
He's
about. Oh,
he's older or younger than you, your brother?
he's older than me. Yeah,
Older.
he's
Okay.
4 years older than me. And I just thought to myself, I just thought, oh, that's so cool. I want to check it out. But I was bigger than my brother, although he was older than me. And so I still thought, I was like, oh, I can beat up my brother. That's no issue. He was like, yeah, well, come down to Murfreesboro and come to a class. So the classic, I went to a class thinking, I was like, I'm going to go beat up with my brother. I'm bigger than them. And of course, my brother takes me down, puts me in side control. And I think the first thing he did to me was a Kimura. Um, and yeah, from there it took a little bit longer, but I started getting interested in like MMA. It's a classic. I started watching UFC, and back then WEC, when like Uriah Faber was the champion there. And the first place I found was a karate place that had like MMA classes. And I always thought like I felt like a ninja because we like wore like a black T-shirt and black pants, and we
Where
like
was that?
this was in Franklin. This was
Franklin?
actually oh geez, it's been 4 years since I've been in Franklin. I can't remember exactly the spot, but it was
Okay.
a spot in Franklin. And yeah, I actually trained there a long time. It was probably like 5, 6 months. And in the middle of that, I started working at a restaurant. And Graham Ash, he was the first guy I would say he really introduced me to some real jiu-jitsu. He wasn't ranked or anything. He trained under a purple belt, a Pedro Sauer purple belt, and he owned a restaurant, the Mercantile in downtown Franklin, and he would have a club on Tuesday nights. They would spread all the chairs, put out some mats, and he would train Muay Thai, boxing, and jiu-jitsu.
Well, In the
and
restaurant?
in the restaurant after hours. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And so I was training at this karate place, doing some like MMA, some jiu-jitsu, and I was doing pretty good. You know, I wasn't the best, but I wasn't the worst. I was holding my own. And I go and I train, and once again, my boss was smaller than me. I was much taller than my boss. And I thought once again, I was like, oh, I'm doing pretty good at this place. I'm gonna do good with them. And he like, you know, the classic saying, he tapped me like a typewriter. You know, I remember it was like an hour, and I think I tapped like once a minute. And that's when I realized like I gotta cut out this karate place and find some real jiu-jitsu. And yeah, and then from there I started searching and started training some real jiu-jitsu places after that, and that's where it really began my jiu-jitsu journey, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
It's awesome.
Started wearing the gi and stuff.
Thanks to your brother, right?
Yeah, to my brother. Oh
Pretty
yeah.
much. Okay, but now is your brother black belt now?
Nah, he's still working on it. He's still working on it. Yeah, he's currently a purple belt, so he's still working on it. He's taking some time off
Yeah.
and so whatnot. He's over at he's over with Professor Jeremy at Brentwood Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
God, really? That's awesome. But since forever there? I mean, since he blew in purple?
Yeah, I think he got his blue belt there. Yeah. He
Okay.
when he was doing the Japanese jiu-jitsu, and then when he came back to Franklin, he started training there, and that was the first place he found, and stayed there.
And you are from Franklin, right? Your parents,
Yeah,
like,
I'm
you used
from
to live in
Franklin.
Franklin? Okay.
Yeah, born and raised.
Franklin, Tennessee.
Hmm.
I just read an article today that Spring Hill and Franklin move up on safest cities in Tennessee.
Ah,
It's
fantastic.
moving up, yeah. It's getting better.
Right?
Yeah,
Not
it's
bad at
funny
all.
because I was just talking with my friends that I have friends here. They own a lot of guns.
Hmm.
And they claim it's for self defense, and they just laugh. You know, like they have like 30 kinds of guns, like machine guns, like AR-15s. You know, that's for self defense. Man, what are the chances that you're gonna need those living in Thompson Station, Franklin? You know. So,
Yeah, I totally
okay.
agree with that, dude. Oy. Well,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
agree with you. It's more of a hobby, in my opinion, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you say
It's
it's
my
a
humble opinion.
if you say it's, man, I love it's a hobby. Okay, I got it. But self defense, come on, man. This is like,
And it's cool. Like I've gone out. I went actually. I had a buddy live in Thompson Station. He had target range. He had clay. You know, it was fun to
yeah.
go out and shoot.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
hobby.
Yeah,
But I
it's
agree with
okay.
you, Franklin. Nothing's gonna happen with Franklin. You're good.
Well, okay. All right, your turn. Go ahead. Ask me
All
whatever
right.
you want. Economy, politics, jiu-jitsu, love, whatever you want.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with jiu-jitsu. So I was the same question. How did you get started in jiu-jitsu?
Well, we started after a lot of years playing basketball. Of course, I decided to stop my career, and I just went back to school. And but I always liked sports, and I wanted to stay in shape. So what I did was went to the gym to lift weights, and I was just lifting weights, becoming a bodybuilder. I got way bigger, in a very good shape, right? And then I had a friend from work, not from the gym. They always told me, "Man, you should try jiu-jitsu." I says, "No, I don't like it." Have you done this? No, but I know who they are. You know, those cauliflower ears, a lot of tattoos, you know, meatheads,
Was this
drugs.
was this back when jiu-jitsu still had a bad rap in Brazil? Like a bad
Yes.
reputation?
Yeah, I think it was right in the transition, you know, but I still had that mentality
Mm.
in my head. So, and then says, no, I'm cool. I don't need that. I'm fine, right? Like self-defense, no, I don't need nothing for self-defense. I'm a big guy. I'm a strong guy. So like a giant. I was in my town back then, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm a 6'4", walking around Fortaleza, Brazil. Man, I was a giant. It's funny now, these days, man, you see a lot of kids there, like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". What happened? Right? What happened, man, with this new generation? People are growing so much. But
Oh yeah.
anyway, right? Until one day that he said, man, and also he came to me and says, hey, Reggie, let's do this. I'll pay you for a first month of jiu-jitsu. Would you like to give it a try? And he still says, no, man, I'm fine. I don't have time for that. I didn't have a car. I'll give you a ride. It's not a big deal. We wake up early in the morning. I'll pick you up in your house, go to jiu-jitsu school, and after that, we go to work together. And I start liking just because of the ride. I didn't like to take like crowded bus early in the morning to go to work. Man, if I
I
could go
understand that.
with my friend, that would be nice. But still, no, I'm fine. And then finally he came one day and said, man, okay, what if I buy you a gi and pay your first month? And then I said, oh, would you really buy me a gi? Because the gi was very expensive, like $300 or something. And I thought, man, worst case scenario, I'll sell the gi, right? I'll have like a free month of Jujitsu, and I have a free month of riding to work, right? A nice car with air conditioner.
I don't know about back then, but nowadays, I mean, that'd be nearly like a thousand reales, right? Reales? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, reais.
Reales. That'd be like 1,000 reales, at least today with the exchange rate.
Yeah. Actually, today would be like 1,500.
Oh,
Last time
geez.
I checked was 5 to 1. Last time I checked.
Oh, geez. Last time I was in Brazil in 2019, and it was right at like 3.4, 3.5. Wasn't too, but so it's gone the
Yeah,
reales
up to
gone down, the
five.
dollar's gone.
I went there like in December to see my dad. Man, it
Hmm.
was 5 to 1. It was amazing. It was amazing. I never felt so rich in my life.
Nice, nice.
I bought like a meal, a meal that came rice, steak, beans, for like $3. So like,
Churrascaria?
God, yeah. It was good. But anyway, so I took it a chance, He brought me to Jiu-Jitsu school. And the first class, my professor partnered me up with a kid, like a 14-year-old yellow belt. Then I felt like insulted because I was a giant, strong. I was like, I'm going to hurt this kid. But it didn't go that way. The kid tapped me out like 5 times in 5 minutes. And of course, right? And after he tapped me out the first time, I looked like, oh, can you do it again? And say, yeah, we're going to do this for 5 minutes. I said, oh, okay. Okay, now I'm going to get you, right? But no, I couldn't get him. And I said, I have to come back tomorrow, man. I can't lose to that kid. And I
Right.
came back next day, and I didn't get the kid. I didn't have a chance to roll with the kid again next day because the kid didn't show up. Okay, I have to come back again tomorrow. And the kid showed up, but had so many students that I didn't have a chance to roll with the kid again. So I kept coming, and now here I am. After all these years, here I am, still coming to chase that kid.
Did you ever meet up with that kid again?
No, I just online on Facebook. Actually, I added him as a friend. His name is Paulo André.
Hmm.
And I sent him a message. Hey, man, I don't know if you know this, but let me tell you like a short story. You are the reason that I'm training Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, right.
And he said, really, man? Oh, man, that's awesome. And that was a good conversation.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
funny that I'm a third-degree black belt. He's a second-degree black belt. So that
fantastic.
means he took a break.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
At that
yeah.
age, 14, right? You have college, you have girlfriends, and of
What
course,
what was it like back then too, the belt system? Because he wouldn't be allowed to get his blue belt nowadays until he was 18, right?
no, 16, but it was the same. It's always been
Ah,
this way.
16, 16.
It's
You're
always
right then.
been
He
this
took a
way.
break for sure.
Yes,
Yeah, he took a
always has
break.
been this way. What happened was the kids' belt system that it changed. The
Mm.
BJJF added more belts to keep like the kids motivated. But before we just had yellow, orange, and green belts for kid.
Yeah, yeah. Now they have the stripes, the gray, and
Yeah.
whatnot.
So if your kid start training like as a 4-year-old, man, and then you're gonna be just a few belts, so he's gonna be changing belts every 3 years, which
Right,
is
because kids don't understand that, like, that
yeah,
old saying of just like,
yeah,
don't look for the belt, like, train for jiu-jitsu, don't train for the belt. But kids, yeah, they need that.
yeah,
They need that
yeah,
kind of external motivation. Another belt, another color, advancement.
yeah. I think we
Okay.
got better. Jiu-Jitsu got better.
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
agree. All right, shoot,
Yeah.
Professor.
My turn already. Okay. This is a very easy one. Can
Okay.
you name like one benefit that Jiu-Jitsu brought to your life? Just one, because I know I bet it brought lots of things to your life, but can you name just one? I don't know.
Like what I think is like the best one. Okay.
What do you think it's worth it to share?
Okay. To my life personally, um, I guess because we kind of want to touch on me living outside of the United States, a long way from home. I mean, I think one of the coolest things is with travel. I have automatic friends groups in any country I go to. You know, like I've trained in like multiple parts of Peru. I've trained in multiple parts of the United States. I've trained in Costa Rica, and like anywhere you go, you automatically have connections. And people like want to hang, they want to help out. Like, or for instance, like just super nice. Like when I trained in Brazil, for instance, like I wasn't even planning on going to Brazil. I was on my honeymoon with my wife, and we went to Iguazu, the waterfalls, Iguazu. And a part of it's on the Brazilian side, part of it's on the Argentinian side. And we
Okay.
had a bunch of days there, and so we said, yeah, let's go to Brazil. Like we were gonna go to the side anyway. And it was my birthday, so I was like, well, what better, go train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on your birthday. And I show up, and the people are like, oh, it's your birthday? Let's go get barbecue. Let's go to a churrascaria. And like the guy drove me and he showed me, he's like, you gotta eat this and that and da da da. Super nice. Same thing in Costa Rica. Go to Costa Rica, where I'm in a brand new city, don't know anything. The guys, they tell me all the best restaurants, tell me all the best spots on the beach. I wanted to take surf lessons. They told me you gotta go with this surf school. It's in like just socially, like it's a huge benefit. I've made lifelong friends. I've made oh my like even in my business, like here in Peru, like I've gotten so many students or so many references for Peruvians that I train with or that I taught Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then they want to learn English, or they have friends who want to learn English, or their kids want to learn English. And so socially, for travel, for business, for friendships, it's been outrageously beneficial.
And I have to agree with you. Like I think for me it was the same thing. The friendship that we make is like forever. Like it's like having another brother in a different
Mhm.
place side of the world, right? And anytime it's a kind of brotherhood that you got into it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's also because it's something kind of strange. Like when you share this martial art, you don't just share the martial art, like you share the whole community. We have this one big thing in common. And I don't know, man. There's something about like me choking someone out and them choking me out. It just brings you close together. I don't know what it
Well,
is.
I was about to say that. Isn't that funny, man? You like someone that tries to choke you, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He
someone tries
fights
to like
so he fights so hard to rip your arm off, and after 5 minutes, you man, let's go have some barbecue. That's
it's
awesome.
it really is fantastic. But I would say at least I mean that's one of the benefits. There's a lot of benefits, but I would say that was one of the biggest for sure, for sure.
It's great. You go.
All right. Okay, so my next question is, what was your favorite belt and why?
Oh man, that's hard. Man, I have to pick one. I would say white. If
White belt?
I have to pick one. I would say white. Yeah. And if I have to pick another one, would be the black.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
White belt because it was my first one, of course, and I think the white belt's the one that you have no responsibility. You're just a kid.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, it's not your fault. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. It's a kind of cool because you have a kind of relief, and that's how I felt. And I knew it since the beginning, right? I'm just nobody. And if I make a mistake, it could be my fault, but most of the time it's my instructor's fault. And I always knew that since the beginning.
Right.
And I felt like kind of, oh, okay, I'm fine. And it's like competing, right? I love to compete when I am on the lowest rank. or the lowest weight because I felt less responsible.
Right.
If I have, it's like as soon as I got my black belt and I have to fight Buchecha, right?
Mm.
I'll fight him. That's awesome. I don't care. Because if I lose, man, I'm supposed to lose. He's the guy, you know?
Yeah.
But
I
on the other way around, if I was Buchecha, if this guy wants to fight me, this Reggie from Tennessee, 48 years old, he wants to fight me, I won't fight him. No, I'm cool. Even though I know I'm going to beat him, you know? But what if I have way more to lose than this guy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I was thinking when I said, like, I think the white belt was my best belt, and also was the belt that I had the most like a desire to learn the most, because I felt so lost all the time about everything. I was so hungry to learn. Man, as a white belt, I was buying magazines. I was reading as much as I could. I was buying DVDs, CDs, DVDs, VHS, right? For those that doesn't know, VHS is a little black box that you put inside the TV and you watch movies. Right?
Man.
So, man, I had so many that I gave everything away when I moved here to US. All my CDs, DVDs, VHS, books, magazines. And it's funny because now these days, when I watch someone that doesn't have the same interest that I had as a white belt, I feel like, man, how can you go, like, how can you be like that? How can you learn something like, but not putting 100%? It's just like 10%. It's like guys come to the gym, they sign up, they come train once a week, and that's it. They just learn whatever you teach them. But out of that,
yeah. No, I'm with you on that, man. That was something, I was that same way as a white belt. That was crazy. I used to stay up all night watching YouTube. I was one of the first YouTube Jiu-Jitsu guys. And it was this, that was actually something I really learned, actually here when I was teaching classes. Guys would come in and they would even tell me they want to compete. And they would say, you know, what can I do to get better? And I'd be like, well, you should study, you know, inside. And we would talk about like what fighters I should watch, what matches, you know, what techniques. And they would come back the next day and I'd be like, all right, did you go watch that stuff? They're like, nah, I didn't have time. I was like, but you want to compete? Like, you know, you're really into this? And I'm with you, Professor. I could never understand. And I also want to say I think that was a great mentality you had as a white belt. And I think that's something that a lot of white belts, they don't have that mentality. Like they have this idea that they should already know, or they should already be able to beat somebody, or they have to win. They don't have this mentality of like, this is for learning, you know, and I'm supposed to lose. Like I'm doing this for the first time. You know, this is supposed to be a new experience. And that's something that a lot of white belts, I definitely didn't have that experience. I was one of those, I was kind of like you when you wanted to beat that 14-year-old yellow belt.
Yeah, I want to come back. I'm going to do it again. And like you said, it's fun when someone says they want to compete, but they don't want to train, right?
Yeah.
And I always say that Jiu-Jitsu is the only sport that people show up to compete without knowing the rule. I've never seen like someone showing up to a basketball game asking, okay, what can I do? What I'm not allowed to do? Can I do this? Can I do that? It's your job. You should know the rules, you know. And that is something that I request from my students all the time. When I ask them like about baseball, about football, they know everything, all the rules. And then when I ask them about jiu-jitsu, they say, oh, I don't know. So, man, what are you doing twice a week? Are you playing baseball or jiu-jitsu? Man.
It's strange. It's also because a lot of them, like one thing I never understood with some students is like I still am, like I still watch Jiu-Jitsu. You know, I watch Jiu-Jitsu matches. You know, I watch everything. I watch IBJJF, I watch ADCC, I watch, you know, submission only. And so I understand a lot of the rules because I consume it. But yeah, that's something I had to come to grips with though, is a lot of students, like they do this for like to get in shape, like as an activity, you know? And I found it was my responsibility for those people to at least teach them the rules inside of the gym, you know. Because when you're fighting inside him, it's like it's kind of different. You put sparring, you put the time on, you put those 6 minutes, and you have to like if you have a competitor, you have to be like, okay, well, you're gonna go fight an IBJJF tournament. You need to think points, okay? But that guy that's just there to get in shape, like, what is he thinking about? Is he thinking, I'm only wanting to submit? I don't care if I get swept. I don't care if I get taken down. Am I doing this for self-defense? Do I want to stay on top at all costs? What is their purpose? And so that was something I got really interested in as I realized because not everyone's going to be interested in the culture. So why are you here? You're self-defense to get in shape and just how to find a balance and how as a coach I could teach them, because not everyone's going to go out and find it. They weren't like us, I mean, you were hardcore buying VHS. And
I
like
remember the
you need to
first.
watch the technique over again and you have to
Yeah,
rewind. It's like
rewind it.
guessing.
Yeah,
It's not like today with YouTube and you can go
yeah,
back exactly to the minute. Like you just have to rewind. Oh, is that it? Nope. Rewind more.
yeah,
Oh, that wasn't it.
yeah,
Fast forward.
yeah. Pause and slow down. I said, yeah, VHS was hardcore.
That's dedication.
Man, I remember my first VHS was from Fábio Gugel.
Mm.
Fábio, also I had one like from Fabrício Verdun, where he was teaching. He was a purple belt, and he has
Hmm.
this VHS, and it was in French.
That was the way it
Yes.
was back then. Like I remember, like I just saw the other day, like Draculino, like his first book he made was in Japan.
Japan, yes, yes. Because in Brazil there is no market for that. Nobody would buy it.
Mm.
So he has to sell like in Brazil. He has to sell abroad, like French, like France, like Japan, US. And it's funny because I was watching in French. Fabrice Vett was a purple belt, in the VHS.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was awesome.
That's dedication. Learning through French.
What do you think it's the difference between, if there is a difference between the Peruvian BJJ and American BJJ? I mean,
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu in Peru and Jiu-Jitsu in US.
Well, so I mean, first, I've really only trained exclusively in Tennessee. So, I mean, the United States is a big place. So I'll talk about my experience in Tennessee. So, I mean, in Tennessee, I really always trained at pretty family-oriented places. There's like few competitors. And Jiu-Jitsu is a bit older in Tennessee. It's been there a bit longer. And Jiu-Jitsu here in Peru is pretty young. It's kind of like, so when I started in 2009, I think there was only like 3 or 4 black belts in all of Tennessee. And I think two or three of them were in Nashville. And so there wasn't a lot of Jiu-Jitsu. And that's kind of how it is here now. I mean, Lima's a much bigger city. It's 11 million people. But I
Wow.
think there's only like 11 or 12 black belts out of 11 million people. So, I
Wow,
mean,
really?
yeah. So, I mean, it's still pretty young. I mean, I can probably count on my hand how many gyms there are.
Oh,
Um,
lots.
and I've trained at a few. And the difference here is it's kind of like how it was back in 2009. So back in 2009, it was a lot of young guys, and then it was older guys who wrestled. So they're still really tough. They
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of years on the mat. It wasn't jiu-jitsu, but they had years on the mat. And so here, I mean, it's a lot of young guys, and it's scrappy. Like a lot of times, it's scrappy, and it's really tough training in a lot of the places. Not necessarily at the level of like professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
but just they're young, so they have a lot of energy and they go, go, go. And then the other thing that's more popular here than gi jiu-jitsu, what's really popular here is MMA. So you get a lot of MMA guys. You get a lot of no gi jiu-jitsu.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that can get pretty tough training because those are some professionals. There is a lot of professional guys. But one of the gyms I've been training at with a friend of mine, another black belt, he would let me, go there on Saturdays and whatnot and train during the week. That was another like family oriented place. So I mean, it does exist, you know. But
So
I would
it's a.
say that's the biggest difference. It's kind of young and it's still developing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still get a lot of those like young tough guys in classes.
So it sounds like in Brazil a few years ago. Not a few years ago, until these days, like also like a bunch of fighters, a bunch of like savages, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I would say if like this fat guy walk into the gym to sign up, he's gonna get killed on the first day, and he won't come back next day.
Yeah, I mean, like those, like for instance, the biggest organization here is Ego, and like they have family-oriented gyms, right? And then they have a competition class that people want to compete. But a lot of the gyms here, like I said, Jiu-Jitsu is pretty young, so a lot of small gyms, and it's like what you said, like if an overweight guy goes into a class and he walks into the wrong class and it's just a bunch of young guys training MMA, yeah, it's gonna be a rough day for him, you know? It's gonna be a rough day.
And how many? You said like maybe like 12 black belts there, right? In a population of 10 million, I guess, around, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How many of those are Brazilians?
I've trained with two Brazilians, but I think there's one or two more. But one of the guys, his name is Vinicius Draculino. He already left and went back to Brazil. He was an ego guy. And the other guy, I cannot remember his name. And then there's
Okay,
another,
so maybe like four Brazilians,
maybe, yeah.
young or older? Young,
A little bit older, 30s, 40s.
yeah, 40s. Yeah, like well, okay, interesting, interesting. Like that's what I thought. I thought like South America would be the same mentality, just a bunch of guys trying to kill each other. Like, I think it has to be with like the household income as well, I guess. I
Yeah,
guess most of the
yeah,
people that have some good money, they don't care for that. They just want to stay home and maybe like go walk on a nice place with his wife. Maybe, I don't know. I think that at least that's what I think about Brazil. Uh, I mean, I
yeah.
mean, I'm talking about like the major, like 90% of them. Of course, we have like some different places that people with lots of money train jiu-jitsu to in a very hard environment, like a bunch of competitors, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And,
I think, yeah, I mean, I think here it's exactly what you say, though. It has a lot to do with economic level. I mean, the the family-oriented gyms are definitely located in the upper class areas, and then
mm-hmm,
um, and then a lot of the more hardcore gyms, yeah, they get farther and farther out of the center of the city. In the center of the city here is where you find the most money. And so, I mean, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think another thing though, because I mean, you look at like gyms in like Sao Paulo, like I've seen the what is it, I can't think of Alliance, like where
mm-hmm.
Michael Lang and Fabio Gurgel, they are. I mean, like you're right, like that gym's like world class, you
Yes,
know. So,
yes,
but
yes.
you're right. I mean, Brazil, but like when I was in the south of Brazil, when I was in Foz do Iguaçu, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, I felt like I was in Tennessee, like back in 2009, like super small places, super small classes, a couple young kids training, maybe one older guy getting in shape. And I think a lot of it has to do with time. Because jiu-jitsu in itself, I think, I mean, like another benefit for me was it taught me discipline, and not just discipline like like it's one of the few things, like it's a really overstated, but if you keep doing it, you'll get better, right? Um, but one thing people forget is like you do have to problem solve in jiu-jitsu. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, I was 135 pounds and I was nearly 6 foot, so I was super weak. So I had to problem solve, and it taught me that discipline is like if I encounter a problem, I can solve it. I have to put the time in, and I have to put my brain power into it. And and I think a lot of people realize that really quickly, and also the people that are running gyms are those type of people. So I think jiu-jitsu in itself inherently creates problem solvers, and over time, that's why jiu-jitsu in the United States is a big family. It's a family-oriented sport now. It's also, of course, got competitors on the sports side, but it's really family-oriented now, which is great. 'Cause that means people can have gyms and make money and support their families, and it's good for the economy. And that's happening in Brazil, at least in the upper economic areas. And it's slowly happening here in Lima as well. It's just time, it takes time.
Yeah. A funny fact that lots of people don't know, like in the beginning, like let's say Helio Gracie, Master Helio Gracie, at his school in Brazil, he had
Mm,
up to one point like 300 students, but
yeah,
just private lessons. So they used to teach just private lessons. So at
right.
his Grace Academy there, right, was just private lessons. So in every private lesson, of course, had like a plan, had a lesson plan. There was a structure, right? Everybody would hop in the class. Okay, man, these are your curriculum right here. That's how you're gonna learn. And by here, you're gonna reach your blue belt. Here, your purple, brown, blah blah blah, and then until you get your black belt. So they had a plan, right? So
Mm,
it just private lessons. And what happened was like, and they used to train at night, like in a different time. All the Gracies, they used to meet each other at night to train, right? To roll. And that's pretty much just roll, right? And then they start inviting some of the private students to come to the roll session at night. Oh man,
mm,
you tough. He said, I think we can invite this guy. He could handle. It's gonna be a good train for us. And they start inviting guys to roll with them at night, right? But the
mm.
roll was pretty much like they show up at 8 p.m. Everybody, the senior most would put the warm up, would lead the warm up, and after that maybe he would share one technique, and then boom, they would spar for at least an hour, just roll, roll,
Mm.
roll, roll, roll. And guess what, man? That became a role model of jiu-jitsu schools in Brazil, because people start getting their black belts and leaving that environment to open their own school. And what they would do, the same thing. They would show up, they would lead the warm up, they teach one technique, and then just roll, 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 roll. So with that, we lost that like a planning part of jiu-jitsu, the structure,
Mm.
the curriculums, with a plan, and then it was more towards competition. And that became that like natural selection. You walk into the gym, if you survive, you're good. If you don't survive, I don't need you.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. Jiu-jitsu does still have a little bit of that for sure.
Yeah,
I
but
totally agree.
this smarter guys start changing, right? Like
Mm.
what Master Carlos Grace did was he came back and no man, this is wrong. We should teach jiu-jitsu for everyone. Let's do this and that. And now, thank God, here we are, right?
Yeah. Well, I agree, man. I mean, especially for Americans. I mean, like Gracie Baja having structure and curriculum really is fantastic because a lot of Americans wouldn't do that, Because I've trained in that environment because I was one of those. I was thirsty, like
Oh
you
yeah,
tracing a 15-year-old. I was thirsty. I was watching techniques until like 2, 3 in the morning on a school night. I was just obsessed. But not everyone's like that. And then not everyone's like that. Sometimes, you got 2 kids at home of working a full-time job. You need someone to guide you along, to have a
yeah.
curriculum, have structure.
But that's hard because I like the fun part already too. Like when I was learning how to play guitar, I'm still learning. But when I first started, I took a lesson with this guy. He didn't let me touch the guitar for 2 days.
Mm.
For 2 lessons,
Look at
we're
me.
just talking about notes, chords. Man, this is so boring, man. Give me the guitar. Can I touch it, please? Right? Can I make some sound? Man, I want to roll because that's the funnest
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
right? And I think jiu-jitsu is the same thing, man. But also, like, the professor has to know, like, my limits, right? Where can you push me? Because
Yeah.
if you push me beyond, you're gonna lose me. And it's not good for business. It's not good for business. It's not good for him because what I want is I want that guy train jiu-jitsu for the rest of his life. And he thinks he's tough. You know, he thinks he
Yeah.
can roll with a. No, you can. You can, but you're not going to. Not yet.
Well, and like you have no, there's positions. I mean, like for instance, me, like I have 2 herniated discs, right? And when I was 19, that began because I went and I thought I was tough. I rolled with this 200-pound bodybuilder. He did this old school
Cradle.
wrestling technique called a. No, I didn't do the cradle. He did a pancake. So a pancake is an opposite full Nelson. So if someone coming from behind, he comes forward. and he pushes down your head and he turns you over like
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay, and so this was back in 2009, and it was just like how you said, like we had some structure. I mean, there would be like, I remember the classes I was in, they would always teach like one takedown and then like one or two techniques, and then the rest would be rolling. But like we didn't have like what Gracie Baja has now, and what a lot of schools have. But like this was something I feel like it's so basic now that even just in 2009, like that's not really that long ago in regards to jiu-jitsu history, you know, we didn't have beginners class. Like there
Yeah.
was no white belt class. Like I just walked in, I rolled with this 200-pound bodybuilder, and no one thought about it. Like no one gave it a second thought. It just,
Yeah.
yeah, 35-pound Drew, 19-year-old, go roll with that 25-year-old monster. You
Yeah.
know, that's see what happens. And now I have a
Yeah.
lifelong injury. So, I mean, we've come a long way. I mean, people don't get those injuries nearly as much anymore.
Yep.
You know, it was so basic. It's so basic now, but yeah, I mean, even just 10 years ago, we weren't thinking about that, you know? Yeah, we've come a
All
long
right.
way since Darwinism.
Your turn.
Okay, my turn. Okay. Yeah, so here's one that's not about jiu-jitsu. What do you miss most about Brazil?
Food. That's easy.
Food. Easy. What food?
All of them. All kind of food, man. The Brazilian food. I'm sorry. I mean, I love this country. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
America is the best place in the world to live.
Mm.
But man, the food right here, it's horrible. And when I'm getting used to it, no, it's okay. It's not horrible. No, no, I'm being too
Okay.
much. But like,
You're speaking to the crowd. Don't worry. Like I love
yeah.
Peruvian food. I don't miss American food. There's only a couple things I miss.
But man, there is not such a thing like American food, right?
This
If
is
you say
true. Very
American
little. Very
food,
little.
man, if you if you say American food, okay, I'm gonna say hamburger. I'm gonna say donuts, hot dogs, uh, ribs in the South, right? Fried chicken. What else?
Yeah. Soul
Man,
food. Like so, the
some
only thing I can really think of that's like American food was made in like like the black community, like soul food.
yeah,
Like fried
like
chicken,
fried chicken.
fried catfish, chicken
Yeah,
fried steak with the cornbread and the fried okra, that like the meat and
yeah.
three. Like, but you're right. Aside from that, maybe
But
like
it's
diner food,
okay. Yeah, it's okay. But
breakfast.
it's okay. But it's not a play that says, "Oh my God," you know what? Like I said, don't get me wrong, right? But I don't get it how someone stay in the line for 40 minutes an hour to eat fried chicken.
Yeah,
It's the best fried chicken in the world, man. For me, for my taste, it's fried chicken. The chicken is fried, and that's it. But the kids, they stay in line. Maybe it's because I can't tell the difference, right? I don't have that taste to tell the difference between a good and bad fried chicken. But anyway, okay. The thing that I
So
miss the
what's
most,
the food you miss the most from
the food
Brazil?
that
Let's
I
get
miss,
back to Brazil.
man, it's everything, man. It's just going to like anywhere, like in a bakery, and have a cup of coffee in a bakery with some bread and butter. Some simple
What's
things,
the
man. Just simple,
pan,
simple.
pan com queijo?
Pão com queijo, yeah. Pão de
Yeah,
queijo.
yeah. What is
What
it?
is
My
it?
other favorite one is the potato. Is it coixinho? Coisinho?
Coxinha, coxinha.
Coxinho.
It's like a thigh, chicken thigh. It's a pastry, but it's coxinha means translates for chicken thigh.
Really? But it's like potato, isn't it? It's like
No,
a
it's not. It's not. It's like a dough, like a bread thing, like a. It could be made with potato, but most
yeah.
of the time it's just wheat. Wheat.
Yeah, but it's delicious. I love it.
It's very bad for you, but it's awesome. That's
It's
how I
terrible.
was raised. Yeah, well,
It's
that's how I was.
terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. It's
That
delicious.
that was my snack like back in the days in school was like a coxinha Coca Cola, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, man, like just like popular food in Brazil. I'm not talking about fancy food when you go like to a fancy place, restaurants, because one thing that I like here, it's compared to Brazil, is the steak. I like the steak, American steak, better than the Brazilian one.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I like the ribeye better than picanha.
Interesting. Okay.
Cuts that we don't have in Brazil, like New York strip, ribeye.
Right, right. Because I
Uh,
mean, you guys do it generally. You do it like like the shish kebab style. You put it on the big
This
pole,
crew.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah, but also like the difference between this Brazilian steak to the American one is most of the Brazilian steaks comes with the fat on the outside,
Mm.
like the picanha. The picanha has the fat outside, covering like a layer of fat.
Right, right, right.
And the on the other side, the American cut, like the ribeye, has the fat inside, like marble.
Mm,
I
right,
think
right,
it
right, right.
gives I think it gives a better taste to the steak, and
No, I agree with
that's my
yeah.
personal taste, right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
It's my personal taste.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wait. Let me ask you my next question because it's similar. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you like most about the US?
Oh, the food. The food is amazing.
In the US?
I mean, I love food, right? Man, I love ribs. I love, you know.
So you miss food the most in Brazil because the food's okay. But what food we do well in the US, you love it.
Ah, man. I love ribs. I love ribs. Uh,
That's a
I
good
mean,
thing.
I eat everything. I eat everything. Whatever you put on my table, I'll eat it. You know.
Mm.
But like what it's called, man, the beef brisket.
Ah, brisket's delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like brisket with rice. You know, the people here eat brisket with like a toast. You know, like
Yep.
makes a kind of sandwich or like
Yeah. They generally brisket with with bread or you eat it with potatoes. Yeah.
yeah,
You
right. So
mashed potatoes or a baked
we
potato.
you should know Brazilians eat rice all the time. So it's like
It's the same here in Peru, man. I'm a rice
yeah,
addict now. I eat rice
yeah.
every day.
If
I
I
eat
don't
rice
have
every
rice, if I don't have rice, like I didn't have lunch. I
Mm-hmm.
could eat a whole chicken, but if there's no rice, well, what time is lunch? There was a snack,
Right.
right? Yeah, man. So the food here, especially in the south, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the north, it's better. Like I don't like the pizza. I mean, I like the pizza, but I like the Brazilian pizza better. Oh, but the
Mm.
American
What?
pizza is.
What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
People say, oh, the American pizza is the closest to the Italian one. Like, you know, that's Chicago pizza, blah, blah, blah. I says, no, it's not, man. It's not. Brazilian pizza is the best. Trust me.
Ah. See, we have our pizza's not very good here in Peru. That's one thing I miss about the United States. Like you can find good pizza, but it's super expensive. It's
Uh huh.
super expensive. Anything here food wise in Peru that's foreign, like even burgers, are
Mm-hmm.
expensive. You can buy really good cheap burgers. They cost like $1 and you buy them on the street corner, you know. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not you're buying a dollar burger. You know, you're not buying a nice like you can get
Gotcha.
a $10 burger in the United States and like that's gonna be a good burger. But here you have to pay like triple that. Like you have to pay like 30 soles. Still like $10, but to a Peruvian that's like spending $30.
Wow. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's one thing that I miss about the United States is good pizza, good cheap pizza.
Oh,
Here,
like Caesars?
no, like
Caesars?
like
It's
not
cheap, like
super
five
cheap.
dollars.
Like on did you ever eat Papa Murphy's? Like the
No, I
take
think
home pizza?
no, I don't think so.
So that one's you just take it home, and it's like they have this thing on Tuesdays. It's $10 Tuesdays, and I miss it. You get this giant pizza with all these toppings, thin crust, great ingredients, delicious for $10. Here, I would have to get a pizza that's half the size. I would have to spend like $30.
Wow, it's just like sushi. I mean,
It's
that
like,
thing is, I love sushi, and sushi in my hometown, Fortaleza, is very cheap.
mm,
And compared to here, I mean, it's so expensive here, and also it's not fresh. So that's
yeah,
things that I don't like to eat here. I just eat because my wife buys it. It's like fruits and seafood. And
yeah,
why is that? First the pricing, right?
mm,
One mango, $1.
yep,
Man, I used to eat that for free. Now I have to
yep.
pay $1 for this little tiny mango. I feel like being robbed. You know?
Oh yeah,
I like
oh yeah.
fruits, but my wife she buys it, so I'll eat it anyway.
Yeah, that's something I'm with you on that. I actually didn't like fish until I lived on the coast. Now I like fish.
Oh,
It's
fish
just
is good,
different.
man.
It's
Fish
not
is
the
good.
same.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not the same.
fresh.
People, You have to go eat fish on the coast by people who prepare fish every day, and it changes your life.
It's
And I agree. I
crazy.
didn't know fruit. Like I didn't really like mangoes until I lived here. I remember a
Because
friend
now,
from Tennessee came here, and I gave him a mango, and he said, "Drew, this isn't a mango. This is like a mango mix. This is like a mango hybrid." I was like, "No, that's just what a mango tastes like. That's
yeah,
that's that's
that's a real mango. Yeah, right.
that's not like a mango that's been pumped with preservatives so it can
Uh-huh.
last for the 3 day trip to get to the store
Uh-huh.
shelf."
What's
You know.
bananas? Bananas is the same thing. Banana. Like when I first had bananas, he said, "What? This is banana? It tastes like bread or something like bread
I
with
know.
sugar." But yeah,
And, anyway, we can get off food. We can get off food.
we can. I can talk about food the whole day, man. I love food.
Me too. Me too.
Uh,
Okay, shoot. Next question.
um, okay, now what brought you to Peru? To
Oh,
Lima?
that's a good question. Okay, that's a good question. Okay. So kind of a long story. So in the United States, so I came to Peru in 2014. Okay, and I volunteered here to learn Spanish, and I was also studying social work, and I worked in a boys' home. And here I made a group of friends. One guy is from Belgium. His name's Tim. Shout out Tim. One guy's from Germany named Gabriel. Shout out Gabriel.
You
And
working?
then
Wait. You work in a boys' home?
yeah, a boys' home like is for actually drug addicted street children.
Oh,
So
okay,
it was like an hour outside of the city in this small
okay.
town, and they had this like campus with a fence, and
I
like
just, I just
they
have
had
a dirty mind, you know.
no, no,
Other kids and boys home.
no. There was
Like a
like
stripper or something, you know, like a Google boy
no,
or
no, not
something.
a boys' club.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would have made
All
a
right.
lot more money. I didn't make any money. I would have made money. But anyway, yeah, there was like psychologists and counselors and yeah. And so I volunteer there, and then I meet another person named Michelle, and she was a psychologist. She had actually just finished school. She'd done her internship at this NGO, and so we all become friends, right? And I become good friends with Michelle, and so yeah, I finish. We all stay friends, and I go back to the U.S. I keep working as a social worker, and I get kind of upset with the job. There's a lot of reasons, low pay, the system doesn't really work out. It was really difficult to actually help people and create change. A lot of the typical reasons why people get out of social work. But I wanted to travel again. I really like traveling, and I wanted to figure out a way to do it and make it sustainable. And so a friend of mine said, "Oh, you should teach English." And I thought, well, I like languages a lot. Like I like learning Spanish, and I want to learn other languages. Maybe I could try teaching languages. Maybe I'll like that. And I had my friend Michelle, who lived in Peru. And it's pretty obvious to all of my friends, and I couldn't really hide it very well. But I had a pretty big crush on Michelle. I'd call her every day on Skype and stuff like that. And so I had the kind of a double motivation going on. I wanted to travel, and I wanted to try teaching English, and then I had a girl I really liked here in Peru, and then the rest is history. Now I'm married, and I've lived
Uh,
for 4 years, and
so is
I
that
teach.
your wife?
Yeah, she's my wife. We're married. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's your wife. Would be a funny story if you says, "No, I broke up with her and I met my wife."
No, no, no. Michelle is my wife. You know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I live here, and I teach
How many
English. And
kids?
no kids.
No kids
No kids.
yet?
No kids yet.
So that's what brought you to Peru, man. And it was a hard decision to move to Peru, or was it kind of, oh, let me see if I can do this for 2 months, 3 months? Or...
Well, I mean, to be honest, like I was pretty excited. I mean, I remember that when I decided to do it, I spent the whole weekend researching it. I was just on the computer the whole weekend researching, how to teach English and Peru itself, companies and stuff I could work for down here. And I was obsessed. I mean, I decided in March and I came in June. Like it was pretty quick, like the turnover. And I thought, like you said, it was going to be for a year to a year and a half. But really, when you go live in another country, I mean, it really took a whole year for me just to get used to it. Like to get all good. Like I've been speaking Spanish for years, but one thing people don't understand about languages is that when you change countries, you change dialects, and it's hard to understand again. So I was speaking Spanish with like Mexicans and Central Americans, but in the United States, like the Spanish United States has kind of become its own Spanish. Like literally in linguistics and language teaching, we call it American Spanish because it's its own thing now because Spanish speakers have been there so long. So when I came down here, it was like learning Spanish almost it wasn't all over again, but I still had some learning to do. And you also have to like I had to get a visa. Like that took a long time. Like I didn't get my visa until October. So I couldn't work. But I did some traveling. I had fun. I went and lived on the beach for a month in the north on the Ecuadorian border and had a good time. Um and then and then you have to get used to everything. Like you said, like one thing that I like now that I had to get used to was like you don't go to the supermarket. You can, but it's more expensive. But like you go to the bakery, you go to the butcher, you go to the market, you have your vegetable stand. And here we have this thing called casera. So it's like the one person you go to because they give you like good deals and you become friends. And I had to learn to do that because when you go to other people, they get angry at you and like they'll sell it to you like more expensive and stuff. And then like learning the whole public transportation system, like it was funny, like when you said like when you didn't want to start jiu-jitsu, but you like the idea of riding in a car with someone. I totally understand you. Because down here, like, I mean, I don't know what it's like necessarily in Brazil, but because I've never lived there. But here in Lima, like public transportation, it's cheap, but it's cheap for a reason because they pack you into a bus. You're just like
Yeah.
super tight with everyone. There might
Same
be
in Brazil.
lines. The traffic is horrible. You might be like, what might take like 20 minutes. Like if there's a car crash, it could take you 2 hours. And your whole life is like planned around traffic. Like what time does traffic happen? Where are you going? And it's part of the reason I started teaching online. But I had to get used to all of this. And so like the language, the social systems, and then like social life, like making friends. Like once again, that was actually pretty easy because of jiu-jitsu. Like I found a good guy, his name's Italo. He let me into his gym and he was super cool. He like said, I remember the first day I was like, "Hey Italo, I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm really trying to live here." And he stood up in front of the whole class and he said, "No one speaks English with Drew." Because everyone wants to practice their English. That's a
Yeah, of
super common
course.
thing for said no one speaks English with Drew. So jiu-jitsu actually became an avenue to learn languages for me as well. You know. And so it takes a long time to get used to. I mean, I'm sure you understand, moving to the United
A little
States.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. You've been
A little
there
bit,
quite
yeah.
a bit longer than I've been in Peru. But so it's difficult, but I mean, if you enjoy adventure, it's definitely, there's some good opportunities, all over the world. You just got to go look for them.
But do you think? No, I'll ask later. I have more questions. I'll ask later.
Okay.
Go. You go.
Oh, on the next question. Okay. Okay. Okay, here's a good question. So I wanted to avoid talking about COVID. But I am curious, what BJJ project, like what was your next, like it could be a project in the gym, it could be your own jiu-jitsu, I don't know, like it could be something online, I don't know. What was your next BJJ project?
Well, right now I have first one. The first one it changed everything, right? It's surviving.
Yeah,
Right
that's why I
now,
said before COVID, because I
yes.
know we're all in that mode,
Before,
just surviving.
so okay, right now the project is surviving. That's the plan. If we survive, then oof, okay, now let's move on the project. Because actually, man, like let's say COVID made me. So if I had 10 steps, if I made 10 steps, COVID right now made me do 4 steps back. So I'm
Yeah.
only getting there to move up to the next project. Oof, came all the way down. Okay, now it's put your feet on the floor. Let's walk. Let's make it, you know. But I would say, man, like I'm thinking about like jiu-jitsu online.
Okay.
Okay, because I see this could be a very good market for after the COVID. right?
Yeah.
The COVID gave us like made us change, right? It took us out of our comfort zone. You
Yep.
teach in class, now you have to change, you have to innovate, right? You have to do something different. You got to keep the doors open somehow. And then what we did was we started teaching online classes. So
Mm.
people from home would log in, and then we teach like to 10 guys, 20 guys from home. So I'll be on the mats, teach them. Some of them had a partner, some of them no partner. So I have to teach them how to do the same thing by themselves, like solo drilling.
Right.
And I see, man, maybe this could be a chance for us to launch a new product, right?
Right.
Because I see after the COVID, I got the know-how that I didn't have it before. I know how to do it now. I know how to stream the classes online. And then this could be a new project in the future, right? After the COVID passes by. But since I have the know-how now, I'm getting better. I'm just learning how to do streaming lessons, streaming classes. This could be something that we could offer to our students or for new students. Let's
Mm.
say, yeah, I want to sign up, and they don't have to live here in our area. They can live in Brazil and sign up with us and take
Right.
classes.
Right. Right.
And so this way is a market that you can take like with unlimited students, right?
Mm.
And also you can charge way cheaper
Yep.
because they're gonna cost you way less than be on the mats with you. So
That's
this,
interesting. Yeah, like so like if someone has to go on like a business trip for like a long time, but they don't want to cancel they want to like keep like in contact and keep training, you could like have a downgrade. Like, you have like the in-person classes cost so much. But if you just went online, like
yeah,
you'll stream you'll stream the classes you're already doing, and
yes,
then those people like in their hotel room or whatever, they can at least watch and, stay
yeah,
connected. Ah, that's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
That I think we're gonna be offering anyway, right? For regular students, it's the same price. And like if you're a member, you can log in right here. You can watch our classes online
Mm.
wherever you are. You can follow up with us. But also, Gracie Bar has a very strong online system.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the whole like a Gracie Bar schools, right? So
Right, right,
let's say
right.
if you go on vacations to maybe you're gonna have a school over there, Gracie Bar, you don't have to take the class from your hotel with me. You can just walk into a real school and take the classes right there.
Right, right, right.
So this would be more for people that I think at least they don't feel comfortable walking to the gym. Or they feel a little bit
Mm.
shy. I want to start doing solo drills with my son at home, training with him. Like the Gracie Academy has the Gracie Garage system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I think what they do is they sell DVDs or CDs. It's not like a one-to-one class. They just buy the class, they watch them, and then repeat at home. You know what I mean? It's not a one-to-one with the professor watching you and go one by one. Hey, you, Drew, you're doing wrong. Put your right leg right here, left leg this way. And then, okay, do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Good job. And keep moving. But that requires, man, lots of effort. That's why I'm still thinking about it, how to do it, if it's going to be worth to do it, I'm still thinking about like as a project in the future.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Ah, interesting. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was just curious. Um, I don't know because I haven't been up to the gym in a long time. I was wondering what other projects you got going on, but yeah, COVID's dumped us all in our ass. So
Yeah. Our goal
yeah,
right now is retention.
yep,
I
yep.
want to lose as less as possible students.
Yeah,
If I sign up someone, it's awesome. But if I want to keep my students, it's awesome too. That's great.
yeah. I
We usually
understand.
have like a rate, acceptable rate of 20% losing. 20%. So if I lose less than 20% a month, that's a good number. On a
Right,
regular, but since we are not signing up nobody, this number has to come down to almost 0%.
right, 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 right. I understand. Yeah,
Because we're supposed to sign up like let's say 20 students, but then you're gonna lose 20% of what you already have. That's how
right.
that's how I planned it my month. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and now my question to you.
Yes.
You are a small business owner. Can
Hmm.
you tell me a little bit what do you do and what do you offer?
Okay. Well, it's brand new. It's pretty, right now, I only offer one-on-one or group classes either for English or Spanish online. Um, and yeah, I'm a language teaching service. That's what I do. And so
Uh,
you can wait.
yeah. So people, how do the people find you? Like, who what kind? Who are your customers? You know, where are they?
Okay.
Who they are?
Okay. Well, my customers generally find me through Facebook or Instagram. Um, but then also just personal reference, a lot of it, because I've been teaching here in Peru for a long time now. So I have a pretty strong, connection down here. But I did recently start teaching some kids Spanish up in Franklin. And so if anyone wants to find me, you can go. It's Languaging with Drew at Facebook or Instagram. Yeah,
Got you.
easy as that.
So you now you teach in Spanish and
Yep,
English.
yep. I teach both.
So if someone wants, okay, I want to learn Spanish, so they contact you, and they
Mhm.
sign up with you, and then you have a time like you talk to them on Skype, or that's how it works.
Exactly. So I teach Peruvian Spanish. So this is really helpful for anyone, of course, who wants to come to Peru. Like there's a lot of people that do volunteering in Peru. There's a lot of people want to go backpacking around Peru, or even that have like internships. But Peruvian Spanish can really be used in all of Latin America. And what we do is I also teach through a storytelling and conversation methodology. So you learn through listening and conversation. We don't focus on grammar. I can include a little bit of it if you enjoy. But you contact me through Facebook or Instagram, and then we exchange Skype information, or we can use Zoom. And yeah, and then the first class is free. I evaluate you, find out where your level is, what you're looking for, and then we begin. And from the first class, you're speaking Spanish or English. Hmm.
And you set up like a packages like 10 lessons, 5 lessons, or a monthly membership. How it works?
Oh yeah, so it's set up by hours. So it's in packages of 1 hour, 4 hours, and 8 hours. And there's discounts that come with each one. And then the cheapest route is actually taking group classes. So group classes, they're literally half the price. So if you have a friend who wants to learn Spanish or English, you come to me, it's literally half the price. And then you have three, the price goes down. You have four people, the price goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually the best route to go. And it's the best route because you actually have people to study with, to speak with, and that'll also help you keep motivated because you have some sort of, social commitment to other people. It's not just you doing it by yourself.
Yeah, I think like I said, this online thing, man, came for real. You know, I think the COVID was just like a slap on our face to show, boom, okay, guys, it's online. I think it's the thing to do right now. You know, I'd rather do like why I would like to walk to your house or to come to my house or to a school to learn Spanish 1-on-1. If I can just go here on the Skype, it's the same thing. I see your face, I can hear you. I think it's amazing. You know.
Yeah, I totally agree. There are, I mean, literally the benefits and the pros and cons of in-class classes versus online classes, especially with languages, are little to none. There's almost no difference. And it's like you said, it's much easier. It's much easier to do it online. Like I literally just
Yeah.
get on my laptop and there's my class. But if I want to go to a school, I have to get in my car. I have to take a taxi or public transport, get in and go. It's much better. It's much
But
more.
what? How do you do if I have to write something down, and how do I send it to you?
You
Like
can
a
kind
no, I mean like during the class, it's just a conversation or grammar.
okay. So the way it works is there's a lot of different things we can do. If you're looking to work on writing, Generally the best way to do it is through screen sharing. So if you're looking to work on writing, we'll have some sort of writing activity. So we could listen to an audio, we could watch a movie, we could have a conversation, and then afterwards you want me to write and correct you. So the best thing is for you to share your screen, which in Skype and Zoom is very easy to do, and you literally go writing, and I can go correcting you. And it's the same way.
Gotcha.
A lot of times, I even have a whiteboard I use. I have an
Uh-huh.
online whiteboard I use, and then I can also just share my screen. I can share PowerPoints, videos, audio. It's as I said, it's very convenient. All of your media
But
is right there.
now, as a business owner, how are you advertising your business?
I generally advertise my business through social media with content. I write a blog, and I'm looking to get into doing podcasts. I want to do super easy short stories in English and Spanish, and put out just a little bit of free content so people have an idea, so they have something to study with, something nice I want to do as free content. But also, it'll give people a little bit of idea of what my methodology is, so that if they enjoy it and they want to take their learning to the next level, they'll come take classes.
Nice.
Hmm.
Just saying here, I have Dr. Joseph Espinel
Hmm.
asking, when is Professor Drew planning on returning to Tennessee for a visit?
Oh man, I was planning on coming in April this year, but we all know what happened. So, just as soon as this is all over, because I haven't been back in 3 years. So, I was really planning on coming this year. I swear to God, that was my plan.
Did you buy the tickets?
I had not bought the tickets yet, no. But I
That's the
was,
best time to buy it
yeah, that's what I hear. I hear it's the best
because
time.
it's very cheap right now, and you can reschedule up to 1 year.
I might go ahead and do that then.
So you buy
But
it
what?
next week, and your flight's going to be canceled. And they say, "Oh, okay," and then you have the flight on your
Nice.
pocket.
No, that's a good trick. No, yeah, that's what I'm planning. I mean, I was wanting to come this year. April was looking like it, or it might have been a little bit later in the year. But
But
yeah, now.
I'm gonna take this opportunity here and ask you another question quickly.
Hmm.
Do you do you see yourself living in US again? Would you
It all
move back
depends.
here?
I mean, I mean, I try not to plan anymore. Like that sounds weird, but I
Yeah,
don't.
but
I don't
not
plan
planning.
more
Let's
than.
say you have a job offer to
Oh, I
move
have a
here.
good job offer. Yes. So I mean, what I'm saying is like wherever my life leads me. If I get a
Uh huh.
job offer and everything looks good, we can get set up there in the U.S. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go
Did
to the
you ask
U.S.
permission to Michelle already?
Yeah, we've had. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times we've had these conversations.
So it's already set. So if you had a job offer, would you move here? Would you consider moving here
Yeah, of
back to
course,
US?
of
Okay.
course. I mean, it's my home. All my friends live there.
Yeah, but it's
It,
not her home, right?
well, it's not her home. Correct.
So that's why
Correct.
it's hard to it's a hard decision.
But to
Trust me,
be
I know
completely
that.
honest, though, we still love traveling. We want to go live some time in Europe. We want to travel more in South America. Like, there's still things we want to do before we like find a place to settle down. So that's
Hmm.
why I say, if the opportunity's there, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Hmm.
But it's just wherever opportunity takes us.
Nice. Did you apply for her citizenship already?
No, not yet. Not yet. No. We can get into this if we want to talk about visas, but Uncle Sam's given us a hard time for being able to come and visit. I would have visited a long time ago, but Uncle Sam has given us a hard time getting a tourist visa so that we can just make a visit.
Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
But even if you marry her as your wife, it's much easier, no?
Well, no, the issue is that because we still are enjoying traveling, and we enjoy living in Peru, we enjoy our life here.
Yeah.
We want to get a tourist visa because a tourist visa would be perfect. We can come visit
Yeah.
3 months every year, and it's a 10 year. It lasts for 10 years. But we were unable to get it, and we were told by an immigration lawyer it was because we are already married here, and so supposedly it looks sketchy. Yeah, and so it does not help us apparently It would have been better if we were not married.
Hmm.
You know, it's it's
Interesting.
it, it's yeah, it's quite strange and confusing. And don't get me wrong, I love my country, but our
Yeah,
immigration
yeah.
system needs some help. You know,
He's just trying to protect here. I understand that. After 9/11, I don't blame them. I see maybe everything you guys do. I agree with you guys
yeah,
100%.
no,
it's
they're
our fault. It's the immigrants' fault. You know,
yeah,
if
yeah.
nobody had going to New York that day, I think we would be way better now.
In regards, yeah, I mean the situation's complicated. So, I mean, yeah, I get upset because we're legitimately trying to come, and because of other people, we can't. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So your turn.
Okay, okay. When did you know that you wanted to make jujitsu your life?
Man, I knew. Hold on. Say it again.
When did you know you wanted to make jujitsu your life?
Oh, I wanted me to use my life since day one.
What?
Yeah, since my white belt when the kid tapped me out.
Hmm.
I man, I love this. I just like it. I just love it. I just want to learn, and it's like a dream. Like in what if I can live doing this? It's like being a
Yeah.
rock star. Man, what
Yeah.
if I can live just playing guitar, doing something that I love, that I like? So I
Hmm.
think since day one, man. But of course, that was just a dream. It's like every kid in Brazil has a dream of becoming a soccer player.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody does nothing to that become reality, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, I want to do this, but it's not gonna happen.
Well, I guess when did you think that dream could be real? Like, what time was like, oh, maybe I could make money doing this. I can.
I think it was when I got my brown belt, because when I got my purple belt, I started teaching.
Hmm.
But the teaching part, man, it was just for fun, right? Because you didn't
Hmm.
make any money. But you'd
Right.
like to have someone under you. And I always thought amazing being a jiu-jitsu teacher because that makes you live forever. So your
Mm.
name will never be forgotten.
Right.
Once you have like someone under you, like the lineage, and that someone is gonna teach someone, that's gonna teach someone. So you're always gonna be there, in the
Hmm.
lineage. And on the other side, a normal person to become like immortal like that, he has to write a book. And I've never been a good writer. So I don't think I'm gonna write a book. So I think if I become a black belt and I have a few black belts under my name that's gonna be teaching jiu-jitsu, I think that's gonna keep up my name on this planet for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Instead, if I just had a 12 hours job and then live and die, after a few years, I would be forgotten.
How many black
Right?
belts do you have now, Professor?
Say again?
How many black belts do you have now?
I think like five, six, five, four, something
All
between
right.
4 and 6, I guess. I
I
didn't
said
count it.
20. Really, it's true. I haven't forgotten anyone that I've learned with. It's true. Like even people that weren't my professor, like I still know their name. You know?
Yeah. But I'm talking about like a teacher. Well, let's say you start teaching jiu-jitsu, you open your own school,
Hmm.
and someday or somehow somebody's gonna ask, Drew, how did you get your black belt? Who gave it to you? And you say, oh,
Right.
this old guy, he passed away. His name was Reginaldo Almeida. Okay, cool,
Uh,
professor. Cool, professor. And then you teach someone, then you give someone a black belt.
you're talking about like lineage,
Yes,
like Drew
lineage.
Peterson, Reginaldo Almeida,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, you're gonna
ah,
have to share that with everybody because everybody wants to know where you come from. Who are you? Who's your professor?
mhm,
What's your lineage? And
right.
then your name is gonna be there, boom, forever. That
Well,
can be
hey,
erasing.
Professor, what's our lineage? Who gave you your black belt?
Say again.
Who gave you your black belt?
Master Sa in
Master
Brazil.
Sa.
Yes.
Ah.
I'm having a message here from my stage assistant that I have 6 black belts.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, stage assistant. Thank you, stage assistant.
Yeah, that's my beautiful wife. She just sent me a
Ah,
message here. You have 6 black belts. Okay, thank you, honey.
thank you, Carl. Thank you.
Okay.
Forget that.
Um,
You have to remember your black belts.
Say again.
You have to remember your black belts.
I do remember, but I have to. I know all of them, but I have to count. You know, I
Yeah.
have to count. I never count. I have 4, 5, 6. I don't keep counting. And
Yeah.
man, I want to have way more. I want to have like 50, but they don't
Uh,
want to be black belts.
you will. Don't worry. You will.
But they don't want to be black belts. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like they don't want to be a black belt. Oh, I do. No, you don't, man. You don't. You just train once a week. You don't
You
want to be a
remember?
black belt.
You remember, Professor, when I was scared to be a brown belt? You remember?
Oh yeah. Of
I was
course, I
scared.
do.
I
Yeah.
stayed after class one day and I was like, Professor, I don't know, like if I'm ready. And you gave me a talk. You're like, and basically, I mean, it was true though. It was like, Drew, like, if believe me, like, I see you train every day. I talk to you every day. Like, I trust me. And I did and turned
Yeah.
out fantastic. You
It's fine,
know,
right? It's like
like,
I was the same thing. Like when someone gave me my black belt, my brown belt, it was the same thing. Man, I'm not ready. I'm not a brown belt. I'm not a black belt. You crazy? And then I
yeah.
would test myself. I would roll with someone. Like I
Hmm.
remember when I got my brown belt and I went to a different school and I saw 3 brown belts there. I said, "Oh my God, man, this guy's gonna kill me. I just got my brown belt. I'm not really a brown belt yet." But no, it was good.
Things have changed though. Like that was one thing I used to think about too. I used to think like, am I good enough, like in a competitive sense?
Yes,
But I
yes,
think
yes.
I think nowadays it's a bit different because you have the professionals and
Hmm.
you have, hobbyists. So that changes a lot. Like a competitive blue belt,
Hmm.
they could kill an everyday, just a run of the
Yeah.
mill, like everyday black. Well, there's no run of the mill black belt. Like if
Hmm.
you're a black, you have some knowledge, you work
Yeah.
for that. Um, but a competitive blue belt, like they'll take it to you,
Oh yeah.
and they
Oh
might
yeah.
even tap you out.
Oh
You know what I mean?
man. I referee like a few months ago. I went to Artista BJJ and I was a referee in that his competition that he does, right?
Yeah.
Man, and I've seen those kids competing like brown belts. Maybe they're like 19, 18. Man, they're beasts, those guys. You know, that I was watching those guys. Man, this amazes me, how
Oh yeah.
good our sport are getting,
Oh yeah.
Man, it's just amazing.
And
Amaze me.
and also like one thing I had to come to terms with as well is like one thing like there's areas of jiu-jitsu. So like if for instance you have a purple belt, if he's competitive or not, but you have a purple belt. This purple belt, he has like a black belt back take. So if he makes you turtle, he's gonna take you back. You
Hmm.
know, like he has a black belt back take. But, like, and so you have a great guard, but you're just playing and you think, I'm gonna let him pass my guard. I'm gonna Granby roll and I'm gonna recover my guard. You're just going playful. You don't know this purple belt's got a black belt back take. And he'll take your back and he'll threaten the choke. So I mean that's something else that as a black belt or a brown belt, like as an upper belt, I didn't understand that until like a year after black belt. I was like, these, there's areas of jiu-jitsu that one guy can get really good at. I remember I fought this one blue belt down here just in sparring, and I had a tough time passing his guard. Okay,
Hmm.
but he couldn't stay on top of me. I could sweep him like that, or submit him from the bottom just like that. But his
Hmm.
guard was blue belt, and I had to like I think I passed it. I couldn't even pass his guard. I could make him turtle, but I couldn't pass his guard, And so that just shows like areas of the game you can improve a lot in one area of the game, and you might have a purple belt or brown belt guard, but your top game's still white belt, and so that's something that I think when you're getting promoted, people, like, and you're fighting lower belts, like, don't be so hard on yourself, think about it critically, where did I lose, why did I lose, is this guy good in this area, is this guy a competitor, there's a lot of factors, you
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
Ah, you learn these things as you go.
I agree.
Mhm. Whose turn is it? I believe it's my turn, actually.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I want to ask, who are your biggest influences technically in your game, both gi and no gi?
You talking about today?
Ooh, good question. You can answer. when you were, younger, Reginaldo, or nowadays?
Uh, you're talking about, I mean, today I would say my students.
Okay.
They're my biggest influence in my
Yeah.
game because I try, I'm trying to learn every day, even
Mm.
with a new white belt. And it's fun, like when you ask, like, what was my favorite belt, right? I said white and black. I think I didn't say why the black was one of the most important too. And I think it's because it's not a cliche, but I really started learning jiu-jitsu after I got my black belt. People say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a cliche," blah blah. Man, actually, it's not. It's real. When I got my black belt was when I realized is, man, there's so much more, than what I thought. And when I was a white belt, I was in a rush to get my black belt. When I was a white, I want to
Yeah.
get a black belt. I want to become a black belt because especially the black belts that I had around me, they were like almost untouchables, right? They're almost like
Mm.
gods, lots of respect, lots of, oh my God, I want to be like them. I want to be in that group of guys. And and when I got my black belt, I realized this, man, you know what? This sucks, right? Because you're here, you're supposed to be on the top of the food chain, right? But first, there's always someone trying to kill you. Always. Always, 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 always.
Oh yeah.
And you
Oh
have
yeah.
to be always be aware of that, right? And that's the first thing. And the second one is you're always learning, like because man, okay, I spent 3 years on my white belt.
Mm.
That's the belt that I spent most of my time was as a white belt. I spent maybe 1.5 as a blue, but I've been a black belt for 10, 12 years, I guess. 12 years.
Yeah.
So you see that,
Of course, you've learned the most in black belt. Yeah. There's
man,
no.
of
Yeah.
course, 12 years as a black belt, man. It's a lot of time as a black belt. So I think answering the question, like, man, I think today I would say my students, right? Because I'm senior most. I have some black belts that, of course, that comes and train with me. I have like some of them are under me that I gave them black belts. Some of them are not, but they train with us, and I'm still training with them on a good, very good daily basis. And I'm always learning. There's always
Mm.
push me like my competition mode.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my students are my biggest influence because I have to always try to adapt my game, and I have always to change my game to challenge myself to. Because if I play my game that I know I'm going to win all the time, I will stop learning.
Of course. Yeah.
I have to always put myself in a risk, and I have always to teach them how to beat me. Because if they learn how to beat me, that's going to make me even better. So I would say like today it would be my students, right? All of them, from my wife, which is a brown belt, to white belt, and I have other brown belts like Dr. Joe. It's a very good brown belt too that helps me a lot, and all those guys.
Mm.
And but back when I was like a white belt, I've been always watching as a competitor mode. You mean like competitors back in the days?
Yeah. I was more thinking like, I mean, I think that was a fantastic answer. But when I wrote the question, I was more thinking, like other competitors, world champions, stuff like that. Who
I
did you
always like,
watch when you were
yeah,
younger?
I always like to watch someone that looks like me, my body type, right?
Mm.
Tall, skinny, and like Roger Grace, of course. Roger Grace, if I'm not wrong, I met him once, but I think he's taller than me.
Okay.
And because everything that I did, like my movements, I thought, man, can my body do that? And now I always looking into someone that Roger Grace, no, he never did this. So I think it's not a good move. So I wouldn't do it. You
Right.
know, let's say like berimbolo, right? I
Oh,
never saw,
yeah.
I never saw like Roger Gracie berimbolo someone. So I think maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe his body type is not good for that.
Mhm.
And So I would say Roger, man. Roger, yeah. Roger was my biggest influence, like since a long time. Since no, I would say since 2004, I guess. That's when I
Mm.
opened my eyes to Roger Gracie. Was when he beat it. No, he lost to Jacaré in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
finals worlds when he broke his arm.
Oh, he lost. Yeah.
Yes, he lost. Yeah, so I think that was the year that I says, man, I'm gonna watch this guy more. I didn't have any VHS from him, DVDs. I didn't have it.
Well, back then there wasn't
Uh,
exist.
yeah, yes, you're right. Yeah, so I would say back in the days would be Roger Gracie, and these days my students. Competitive mode, like I like to watch all of them. I mean, I don't like to watch fights. Like you said, you
Yeah.
like to watch. I don't. I don't have patience. You
Mm.
know. I like to watch highlights. I like to watch
Yeah.
like real fights, like when you put like Leandro Low against Herbert Santos. They go crazy, they try to kill each other. Man, that's amazing to watch. A real fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if you ask me if I watch the whole 10 minutes, no, I don't. I just skip it, keep moving, skip it, to see what
Well,
happens. Like,
I used to have that page. What I do nowadays is like I know what the good fights are, and I watch those fights. Like I don't watch like I used to like sit around all day and like watch the worlds. Like I don't do
oh
that anymore.
no,
I just
no
at
way.
when world is over, I look up the results and I'm like, okay, these fights are good. I'm gonna go watch these fights. But I'm with you because I mean, some fights are woo, you know.
Yeah, or then I would
It's
watch
like,
when I heard that Antonio Meregali submitted, I don't know, like some big name. I said, what? No way, he did it, and then I go to watch it. But
no, I'm with you
other
on
than
that.
that, because I remember, man, Meregali was a purple blue belt. I remember that I refereed his matches in Worlds in California once. I saw
Hmm.
that blonde kid like doing the open blue. I think it was blue belt open class final.
Don't they call him and don't they call him El Alemán, the
Yeah,
German?
Alemão. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And to see him like as a black belt, because it's funny because all those guys that I was watching, man, this guy is gonna be a huge black belt, like a big name, And there he is.
Yeah,
Boom.
it's
It's funny.
enormous. He's
Since the
considered
blue
actually,
belt.
yeah, in the gi, he's considered possibly the best right now in the gi. So I mean, he's incredible to watch. All of you listening, if you actually do want to watch any gi competitor, Meregali is one of the ones to do it.
Yeah, it's me,
All right.
right?
Yep.
Now, different question. We spoke about gyms in Peru, right? How much usually it's a membership for Jiu-Jitsu in Peru, in Lima? I
Uh,
know it could be, of course, like from how much to how much.
okay. Well, I mean, like, so I'm pretty sure it's cheaper. I mean, if you do the conversion rate. I mean, one thing that folks got to understand is that the living here is pretty comparable. I mean, like if you make $3,000 a month for a job in the United States, you'll make 3,000 soles here in Peru, generally.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
but the dollar is more powerful.
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
so it's pretty much the same. I mean, it's like 160 soles to like 220 soles a month.
Hold on.
Um,
Wait. So let's say if I work for McDonald's in Lima, Peru,
it would
40
be.
hours a week, 40 hours a week, how much money I make?
Oh, okay. That question I could not answer. I mean,
Average.
most people in Lima, this is a wild guess, but I'm guessing. I mean, middle class folks are making around like 40,000 soles a year. Okay, there's a lot of people making a lot less money. There's a lot of people making a lot more money. Not a lot of people, but there's more
They
people
make
making.
40 a year?
Yeah, like 40,000 soles a year.
So that would be like what? 40 divided by 12. How much?
Oh, like month? I mean, yearly? I mean, man, that's like
Twelve.
$12,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone makes 12 a month and they pay 160 for jiu-jitsu. Is that right?
Okay, well now monthly, if they're making They're making 40,000. They're probably making like 3,500 a month, something like that. Yeah, and they're paying 160 soles. So I mean, it's about the same the way it works,
So it's
dollar wise.
expensive.
It's pretty,
So it's
yeah, it's an
expensive.
expensive sport here.
So it's
You know.
expensive. It's not
Yep.
cheap. Jiu-jitsu there is
Yep.
expensive.
Yep.
Okay,
It
it's
is expensive.
expensive. So, and my other question is, of course, I think that answered the question, but I think someone could live out of jiu-jitsu there, right? In Lima, if I open a school there,
Yeah, people do that for sure.
I
Hmm.
can live. People can live there just teaching jiu-jitsu, like having a full-time job as a jiu-jitsu teacher, being a school owner,
Yep.
or being a jiu-jitsu instructor. They can have a good life.
Yep. There's this one guy, he's this Brazilian guy. He loves to surf. What's his name? His name's I think it's Marlon Ribeiro. He's a Gigo guy. He's an older guy. He's been living in Lima for years, decades, and he just loves to surf and do jiu-jitsu. And he had the most successful school in the one of the wealthiest parts of Lima. And just because he loves surfing so much, someone offered him a school an hour south of Lima, and this it's a beach town. I mean, he's probably got some a good decent amount of students, but he's definitely making less money. But he's still making a living, and he gets to surf every day. And that's he's living the life. You know.
Okay. So, okay, good to know. Some people were
Mhm.
asking, so can they teach jiu-jitsu in Peru? Can I think you can if you find the school, right? Because right now you said there's just a few schools there, but I think it's a good market to open a jiu-jitsu school. Do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's a good market. The only thing is you'll need some startup money. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
think
to invest, yeah, of course.
if you're a foreigner here and you come, and it'll be difficult to get a loan as a foreigner coming here. You'll need to come with some startup money. But I mean, if you're making dollars in the U.S. to save up, 10, $20,000, whatever it takes to have some money come down here, you could totally do it, make a living, and live in Peru, and yeah, have a gym for sure. Hmm.
Is Peru a violent city? How's the crime rate? Do you know?
I mean, I don't know numbers, but you gotta be careful. It's Latin America. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been the whole time I've been living here, I haven't been robbed.
You
But
haven't?
nope, nope, I haven't been robbed.
Lucky you.
But I mean, I've seen
And
robbery.
how's your Spanish there?
My
From
Spanish
0
is
to
good.
10. Can you
0 to 10.
blend in?
Yeah. I
If
mean,
nobody sees your face, your
I
white
mean,
face?
oh, I've tricked some people. Yeah, they don't think I'm necessarily Peruvian, but a lot of people have said because they see I'm white, they'll be like, "Are you Argentinian or Uruguayan?" You know.
You
Especially the
feel
funny
good,
thing,
right?
if I go back to the United States, or like it was funny when I was in Argentina with my wife, and we were in a taxi, and they looked at my wife because in Argentinians, like the majority of them are white because they're from European descent, from like Italy and what in Spain,
Uh-huh.
and they thought he looked at me and he was like, "You're not Argentinian," and I was like, "No, I'm Peruvian. You don't think Peruvians can be white? Are you racist?" And he just like, but he never guessed. He thought I was Peruvian because there are white Peruvians, but it was pretty funny. Um, but I mean, it's difficult with like a second language. I mean, in reality, like I think the most you can hope for is to trick someone for like 5 minutes, because you're eventually gonna make a mistake.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
make you're gonna mess up, your vocabulary usage. Instead of saying, I watch TV, you're gonna say like something like I see
yeah,
TV or I look at TV.
yeah,
You're gonna mess up pronunciation or something.
yeah.
You know,
I met someone that speaks Portuguese, like American from Arkansas,
yeah.
speak Portuguese perfectly, better than mine. Her Portuguese is
Wow.
it's better than mine. When I was first talking to her, and then she was talking to me and blah blah blah, and then when she said one little thing, so boom, that's when I click it. Oh, gotcha.
Well, it's
You
because
know,
it's this like nativeness. Like
yes.
I can. Most things I say are correct. I mean, almost everything. I make mistakes, but not nearly as much as I used to. But like sometimes I'll say something a native wouldn't say, or like I'll use a word like here in Peru, like for the word coat, we say casaca. Okay, casaca.
Casaca.
In Mexico, you'd say like abrigo. Okay, and then in Spain you say chaqueta. So like when I first came here, I would say like chaqueta or abrigo, and that would be like, oh, you're not Peruvian. You know, boom, you're not Peruvian. You know, so you got, like but it's not really a big deal. Like my thing is like like how I know my Spanish is good is because I have friends that like in the beginning here I would speak English with them because my Spanish wasn't that good,
Hmm.
and my Spanish has gotten so good now that they just speak Spanish with me.
It's better
Like
Spanish, yeah.
they've like accepted me, like they just speak
Uh-huh.
Spanish with me, you know.
Awesome.
And so that was like I did it,
Yeah,
and I could do
I'm
like I'm not
good.
good.
I know the feel. I
Yeah,
know
for sure.
it's the same feeling that I have when I talk to someone on the phone. I'm
Hmm.
so happy. Yeah, I got this.
Oh, talk on the
Yeah.
phone's the worst. It's so hard. Like
Watch.
that was the hardest thing forever. Just even like ordering a
Huh.
pizza.
Yeah, yeah. You want to test yourself or test somebody? Oh, I speak Spanish or English or whatever, any language. Okay, you have to
Yep.
pass two tests. The first
Hmm.
one, drive through. The second one, telephone.
Yeah,
That's it.
totally. Totally. And the drive-through is easier because you have a menu. So like no matter what, if you say
Uh-huh.
something on the menu, you might not understand, but you can say something on the menu. But the hardest, yeah, is the phone because like
Yeah,
you have
saying
no.
number one, number two, that's is not. I want to say like, because watch, also the menu, you know what my friends complain about it is like because the menu has the number and the picture.
Mm,
And you select, let's say like a McDonald's, you eat like I don't know, like a chicken, like a mac chicken or whatever, chicken sandwich, right?
yeah.
It's like, let's say it's number three, I don't know. And then you say, a number three, please. And the girl's gonna ask, grilled or fried? No, fried?
Yeah.
No, they say fried, right? They
They
say
might say
grilled
they might
or
say crispy or something,
crispy. Yes, yes. Crispy or grill. And people,
Yeah.
what? Crispy or grill? And then you say, oh, crispy. Okay. Ranch? I said,
Right,
what?
you want ranch? They'll like give you like you want like ranch, the super sweet,
Yeah, because I
tangy,
said,
lang
what?
lang something sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, and you say, and French fries. Oh, you like the onion rings instead? There's always like a back conversation. Man, I just want a number three, that one right there, just like that. It's
Okay,
funny.
so this is funny. So I remember I was with my mother-in-law before she was my mother-in-law. She was just my girlfriend's. And in Peru, they have a funny thing. So when you say the word boil in English, you can boil something to cook. Okay,
Boil.
like to boil an egg, right?
Yeah,
Or you boil
yeah.
chicken to make chicken soup. But then you can boil water just to boil water, maybe to drink, as like
Yes.
tea or coffee or something, right? In
Yeah.
Spanish, in Peruvian Spanish, those are two words. Okay, to cook with boiling water is sancochar. And then to just boil water to drink or to clean or whatever you need it for is hervir. Okay? They are
Sim.
two words.
Same Portuguese, ferver.
Ah, okay.
Ferver.
So I would, and like I remember one day I was like I didn't know like what the difference was, and I just always hear it all the time. So I was like I'm gonna test it, and I was like mamita, I was like that's what
Uh-huh.
we call it, like little mom, mamita, voy a hervir estos huevos. I'm going to boil these
Uh-huh.
eggs, but with the just boiling water. And she was like, hijo, ¿qué te pasa? Tiene, no, es sancochar, habla español bien, ¿qué pasa? She's like, what are you doing? Like, you have to speak Spanish well. You're dating my daughter. Like, what's going, like, and so people like don't realize like they think like you just speak a language and it's all done, but it's there's little details in there, and like even with the drive-through, like you just said, like it can get complicated. Just ordering food, just
Yeah.
wanting to boil an egg, like it can get complicated. Oh yeah.
Man, I know it. I know.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
have
yeah.
so many examples, but okay. In English, right? Because English, it's way easier. People say, "Oh, English is harder than Portuguese," right? Nope. English is very
Yeah.
easy. If you want to
Yeah.
compare to Spanish or Portuguese, man, it's English is easy, easy, easy. It's piece of
People.
cake.
Oh my gosh. Like people think like okay, so they say like okay, Spanish is easy. It's easy language. Like no, and English has some hard stuff, but in general, English is easier. Like, so
Yeah.
let's just take like the word to read. So
Hmm.
like read in Spanish, or in English, like you just have read, you have reads, he reads, you have reading, I am reading, you are reading, he is reading.
Mm-hmm.
You have read, I have read, and then he read like yesterday. It's just four. It's like it. That's pretty much it. And I can't think of anything else. But in Spanish and Portuguese, you have conjugation. So you
Yeah.
have leo, leas, lea, leamos, lean, leí, leíste, leyó, leímos.
uh,
Like, and that's I just went through
mm-hmm.
like just simple present, just like I read, and then I just went
Yeah.
through a little like I read, and I just named off like eight.
And we have the females and males, right?
Yeah. Oh man, I hate that. I still get that wrong because like
The table is a
English.
female, you know.
It doesn't
How?
exist in English.
Yeah, I know. How? Yeah, and I agree with that. How can you say the table is a female, right? It
Right.
could be a male
Or
table. It's a female.
people don't also realize like so like in Portuguese there's 58 sounds, pronunciation, individual sounds. Like there's 58 individual sounds. In English, there's only 42. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So even like pronunciation gets much more difficult in Portuguese. Yeah, but
Yeah.
people they have their own
It's.
ideas about,
Yeah.
learning languages.
But I love that. I love learning languages too. I love it. You know.
I think it's
And I found interesting when you said, "Oh, I speak Peruvian Spanish." Well, but if you
yeah.
go to Spain, you're gonna be fine, right? You're gonna
For
maybe
sure.
make a few mistakes once in a
Yeah.
while. It's like English in England and English in US. It's about the same thing.
It's no, like
Slangs and
get to a certain level, you can understand anyone.
yeah, yeah.
Like you might you might have to ask, like, well, what does that mean? You
Uh
know,
huh. Yeah.
I was in Argentina, and like in Peru, it's easy. Like the word for bus is bus. It's like it's the
Mm-hmm.
same. And then, but if you're in Argentina, it's colectivo. Like
Colectivo.
why colectivo? I don't know why. But so someone said like, like vas a tomar el colectivo. Like, are you gonna take the bus? And I was like, well, actually, they said, what is it? Bus. I can't remember. They say bus. But anyway, they have a different way of saying it. But they
What
say
about
like, are
in
you?
Spain? Do you know how they say bus in
I do
Spain?
not know. I think they just say bus. I mean, I can't remember. In Spain, I don't know. I only know a little bit of Spanish. I know a little bit of Costa Rican Spanish. I know a little bit of Argentinian Spanish because we have a family friend who lives in Argentina. Um, and then I know some Colombian Spanish, but that's honestly just from like watching Narcos. It's not really, it's not very. And I know some Spain
I
Spanish,
think
and that's from
yeah.
watching La Casa de Papel,
La
Money
Casa de
Heist.
Papel.
Yeah, Money Heist.
Muy rico. You say muy rico? No, right?
Yeah, you always say muy rico. Yeah, very
Muy rico.
delicious.
La Casa de
Yep.
Papel. Muy rico.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Whose turn is it?
I think it's mine. I ask you. No, it's yours because I asked like if you can live out of Jiu-Jitsu in Peru, how much
Okay.
money you make, blah blah blah.
Okay. Here I'll ask you. I'll give you a question that's not jujitsu related.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
So what was your life plan before you found jujitsu?
Man, my life plan was making lots of money
But
and have a
doing
good
what?
life, just working. You know,
Yep.
maybe I like to learn. You know, maybe get a different degree
Mm.
in a different area. Maybe get like a physical education degree in nutrition or something because I was lifting weights. I really like to learn everything that I do. I like to learn a lot.
Yeah.
So working and I would keep studying, going to school and working. You know, maybe having a PhD or something, masters or because I always like to keep myself busy. I don't like
Okay.
just work because if I just work, I feel that I'm losing, that I'm being passed behind. You know,
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
so I'm always trying to get better. If I'll be working in a company, right, as I was before, I would be
Mhm.
always try to be the best there. You know, even if I don't have the good position, but I'll always be prepared to get a next position on top of me. Always. So that would be my plan. It's a kind of sucks. It's sad, I guess. Right?
I'm glad you became a jiu-jitsu professor.
Oh, me too, man. I'm so way happier. That wasn't my life, like 10 hours, working 10, 12 hours a day behind the desk, traveling a lot, and barely having time for my family. I think one of the best things that I took out of jiu-jitsu was having more time for my family. The lifestyle, the life, it's way better right now. Now I wake up with my kid, I bring him to the school, and I teach
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, and then I bring him to jiu-jitsu with me, and then I go out with them on the weekends. And before, when I just had a regular job, man, I was waking up early in the morning. I would leave the house, he was sleeping, and I would come back home later, he was sleeping. And
Yeah.
maybe I would travel for work, and I would spend like 5 days in a different state, and would come back home. So Kyle was like that until we moved here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I barely
So
seen him.
when you lived in Brazil, you had to work like to support your family and also to
Oh yeah,
train.
oh yeah. Jiu-jitsu was just a hobby, right? It's just like most of the people in Brazil, man. Like especially and I came from a new generation, pretty much, right? But the generation before me, like in the 80s and 90s, right? Everybody had a job.
Mm.
Maybe you could count on your fingers how many guys would live in just from jiu-jitsu. All those famous guys, all of them had a job, man. All of them,
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Okay.
job, college, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you ended up as a jiu-jitsu professor.
Yeah, me too. What was the biggest challenge you found when you arrived there?
Peru? Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I guess the first thing, the most obvious was actually just understanding uh Peruvian Spanish because I mean it and maybe getting around like I can kind of link those two. Because man, I lived in Franklin, Tennessee I mean, I lived in Murfreesboro. It's only an hour away and it's actually a similar size city. It's a similar setup. It's suburbs. And so I never left like the Nashville area. I could get around in Nashville and Franklin and Murfreesboro, and I always had a car. And so when I came to Peru, I obviously didn't have a car, and it's the first time I'm using public transportation. Okay. And at the same time, I have to understand what people are telling me. I have to understand when they call the bus stops, like where do I get off? When people give me directions, I have to understand where they're telling me to go. And they tell me how much money I have to pay. I have to understand how much money because all of these things have maybe not serious consequences, but there are consequences. You could end up in a bad part of town. You could get lost all day. You could be late to your appointment. And it might sound silly, but that was tough for me learning like Lima's public transportation. And now I can do it. It took a long time because it's a big city. It's 11 million people, big city.
Yeah.
Um, and so, it was tough, but yeah, that was and it maybe the funny thing was like there was really like logistic things like because I was pretty lucky. Like Michelle's family took me in, and I had made friends in jiu-jitsu really quick. So socially, I had community really fast. It was really just like the transportation, learning Spanish, getting my visa, getting used to the job, working in Peru because it's a bit different. But I got lucky with that too because I got a job pretty quick. I had a friend help me get a job, and it was with walking distance from my house, so I didn't even have to worry like battle with traffic or anything. So I was pretty lucky. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Lucky you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, you go.
Now it's my turn. It's my turn. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Hmm. I want to ask, what was your training like during the color belts? We kind of touched on that a little bit, but I like your training specifically.
My training,
Yeah.
up to my purple belt, I think, like I said, I was lifting weights, right? So when I
Yeah.
first started as a white belt, I was training twice a week
Mm.
from 6 to 7 a.m., 6 a.m.
Yeah.
to 7. So I would wake up 5 a.m., we go to the gym, and after the class, I would take a shower, go to work. And after work, go to college. And that was as a white belt. But as the time goes by, I start loving jiu-jitsu. I said, man, I need more time for jiu-jitsu. So and then
Yeah.
I was cutting from lifting weights to adding more jiu-jitsu classes.
Yeah.
So and then I decided to lift less weight and train more BJJ. So I'll train 3 times a week. And then I kept changing until I found myself doing jiu-jitsu every day from Monday to Friday
Mm-hmm.
and lifting weights once a week. You know,
Mm.
so that was as my white belt. And then
Okay.
as my blue belt, I started training at night because I think I had graduated from college or I didn't have classes every day. So that's when I
Yeah.
started training at night. And then, but pretty much, man, I was training every day, once a
Mm.
day, but
Yeah.
pretty much every day. If I missed one class, I would go crazy.
And what were the classes like? Was it kind of like that, Darwin, just go in there and sparring, or did you have
No,
a professor?
the classes it was like I said before, right? You walk into the class, you line up, you bow, and the senior most usually lead the warm up. Sometimes the professor leads the warm up, but since we had lots of black belts, whoever was there senior most would lead the warm up or would tell someone to do the warm up. And the
Okay.
warm up would be like that running, jumping jacks running, the rolls left and right, break falls.
Yeah,
Would be
yeah,
like a
yeah.
conditioning. It would be like a conditioning class instead of warm
Mm.
up. And that would last like maybe 30 minutes of conditioning,
Oh,
the
geez.
warm up. Yes. And after that, senior most like usually would share one technique or somebody else say, "Hey, can I share something today?" And then somebody else would share something like another black belt. And
Mm.
then the black belts maybe would discuss the technique while everybody was watching them. And after that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, guys, let's drill this one here. Boom, and you take that technique and drill for 5 minutes. And most of the guys, they would drill once and look at the professor. Professor, I'm done. I got it. And he said, no, man, you got to do this like for 10 minutes. Left and right, left and right, left, right. Oh, okay. And do like 3 times. Can I have water? They just want to roll.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'd roll like for an hour after that. But we wouldn't roll an hour for an hour straight because there's lots of people on the mats. So usually we'd roll 5 minutes and go to the wall and wait 5 minutes. Let's say because we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
mat
It was,
space
yeah,
for
it was like the
everyone.
Roman line. Yeah.
Yeah, we will go to the wall and rest on the wall, cross your legs, sit down. And every time you're out on the wall, you can go drink some water, take your gear off the mats because it was very hot. So usually people go outside of the mats, of the mat area, take the top off and breathe a little bit, put some water on their face, drink some water, and maybe jump back in the class. Kept rolling until the end of the class. End of the class, line up, bow, class is over. Every
God.
single day, every single day. When we had like a competition, like maybe 1 month before, that's when we start doing takedowns.
Ah, really?
Be- oh yeah, just a month before, a few weeks before, because like I said, the space was very small.
Yeah.
Not the space was small; it's because we had lots of students. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's say you have 200 students in a mat space like Gracie High Spring here, right here.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
200,
That'd be
like
impossible.
200.
Takedown would be
So that's
impossible.
why we would be taking turns. But we didn't have like an advanced class, beginners class. We just one class a day. I mean, we had a class at 12 and a class at 9.
Yeah.
That's it. Usually the class at 12 were just an hour class because for most of people that was taking a break for lunch, or
Yeah.
most of the instructors they would teach at night, they would come for the 12 o'clock class. So the 12
Uh,
o'clock, we had more black belts at lunch class.
it's pretty normal all over the place. That's pretty normal here. I remember I trained at Cyborg's gym in Florida. That's how it was. I trained at the day class, and there's so many black belts. I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah. The 12, the level was way, way higher at 12 o'clock because all
Yeah.
the instructors would meet there and train. And then after that, that night, they would go to their own places to teach.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that was, man, until like my brown belt, I guess.
Hmm.
And then at my purple belt, and then my purple belt, I started taking judo on the side.
Mm.
I joined the judo school and started training judo because I thought that Like just a few classes before the competition wasn't good enough for me to help my takedowns.
I agree.
That was up to my purple belt, and then in my brown belt, I had conditioning classes because I started competing seriously as a purple belt. I was competing a lot, so I started adding judo classes. Then after that, conditioning class, lifting weights, work on my diet. That's when things start getting like serious, you know.
Right, right.
And that's it. That's how was
Yeah.
my training back in Brazil.
Old school.
Old
But
school,
you were
if you can
intelligent
say
about it.
that.
A lot of people wouldn't go to those judo classes.
Say again?
A lot of people wouldn't go to those judo classes.
Oh yeah. Sometimes boring sometimes. People just want to roll, you know, just want to have some fun. Like most of people, they're not there to get better, right? Most of them, they're there to kill each other. They don't care if they want to get better. They want to be a world champ. Maybe that's going to happen, but, you know. Okay, so my turn. Can you tell us like any culture difference that you found between Peru and US?
Oh.
Something that you did there, oh man, that's not good doing this here. It's oops, sorry, I didn't know that. I'm gonna share a few that I did here in US.
Okay. I mean, a funny one here is when someone's cooking. So in the US, like if it smells good, you'll go over to the pot or the pan and you'll smell it.
Uh-huh.
Here, do not do that. Because here, if you do that, it means you think it smells bad. And and so I did that once or twice, and people look at me and like,
what is he doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I can't think of any others. A big cultural difference here between here and the U.S. Like this isn't like a something bad, but like if you do it, it'll be bad. But like one of the biggest things here is food. Like you talked about, like in the U.S., there's very little like American food, but here in Peru, like there is a food culture. Like there's like in Spanish, you literally call them typical dishes. In English, it's more like it's better to say traditional food. But here, like when we make our grocery list, like it's not just like, I want to eat chicken, I want to eat pork, It's like the specific dish. Like you make a list of the dishes you want to eat, and then you make your list from that. It's and everyone knows how to cook. Everyone knows how to cook.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's one of a big difference between here and there. And I mean, I guess one of the classics is time. Yeah, Peruvians have a looser sense of time. Like you can show up late. Now, there's a big stereotype that everyone's like that. That's not true. Like if you're at a job, you need to show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
But there are definitely some folks that, like, I remember there's this one woman I used to work with, and we had a barbecue, and she showed up 3 hours late, and that's not that unnormal. Like
Was she
people.
Brazilian?
No, she wasn't Brazilian. Is that a normal thing in Brazil as well?
Yes, it's a cultural thing. Being always late, so everybody knows. Like if I have a meeting at 1 p.m., it means everybody's gonna show up at 1:30, 2 p.m.
Yep. Yeah. I
So
mean,
if I want to do a meeting at 1 p.m., I should say, guys, meeting at 12:30.
but that's the complicated thing in Peru is like with jobs, like some jobs are very serious and some are not. So like when it comes to punctuality, it might be a serious company, but punctuality might be not be that important.
Uh-huh.
But but it could still be serious. Like you still need to work hard and do your job well. But being on time isn't that important. But there's other places that like no, you should be on time. You'll get fired or you'll make someone angry.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's why I tell people like do not assume you can be late.
Yeah.
It will happen. It will happen. But do not assume because you
No,
never.
I hate that we call Brazilian time. I never agree with that. I always hate it. And for jobs, no. For jobs, you must be on time, or otherwise you're gonna get fired.
Yeah.
But let's say, like, if you talk to your friends, hey man, let's meet tonight at the pub at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
No, if you get there at 8 p.m., you're gonna be alone like for 2 hours.
Yep.
You're gonna show up at 9, at 10. If you do like
Yep.
something in your house, like Brazilians, when they do parties, they don't have a time to end. That's the different thing from Brazil and US. Here, Brazil, you have an invitation for a party. It says from 6 to 8.
Yeah, that's the same
Which
thing
is,
here.
I love it. I love it because I know that I can leave at 8. Nobody's going to get mad. And the owner also wants to rest, clean his house. But the Brazilians are like, party at 6 p.m. That's it. And sometimes you have to stay with this annoying guy there for the whole night at your house and you want to sleep and they don't have, you know, that's
Oh
one
yeah,
thing.
no, I mean it's really funny here. Like I go to bed pretty early. Like I enjoy my sleep, and I tell people like, yeah, I go to sleep at like 9:30, 10. People, what? And when I go out, like I like going out to a restaurant, having a drink or two, eating something nice, and going home. And other people, what? Even if they go to a restaurant, they'll stay at the restaurant till 12 or 1, even a restaurant, not just like a
Yeah.
party at someone's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, man. Latin America, I remember being in Argentina and we were walking around, it was midnight. And we were on vacation, right? So we went out and ate and drank. We had a nice night. We were just taking a walk around the neighborhood. It was summertime, it was very hot. And there was like old women, like grandmas, eating ice cream on the corner. Kids on
Midnight.
bikes. At midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight. Wednesday. Just
Yeah.
Wednesday. You
Yeah.
know, it's a different time. Time is different, between the two.
Culture is interesting. Yeah, like you said, this Brazilian time, man, I hate it. I never agree with that. Like every time I went to a doctor in Brazil, if my appointment was 2 p.m. and 2:30, the doctor didn't show up, I would leave. Where are you going? Man, it's 2:30. My schedule was for 2 p.m. He didn't show up. No, he's coming. He's late. Blah, blah. I don't care. I have things to do as well.
Yeah.
Bye bye. I would find another doctor. But in Brazil, it's very common. They treat you like that. Like, man, especially when I'm paying. It's a private thing.
What is it? What is it like? So one thing here is like almost a lot of prices are negotiable. So like you have to know that, and you can't be offended. Like if you're giving a service to somebody, you're gonna want to charge a little bit higher because they're gonna think I can bargain. And
Uh
it's the
huh.
same thing when you like unless you go to like the mall, you go to the mall, yeah, it's one price. But if you're like in a market or you're buying something on the street or you're buying something on like a Craigslist or Facebook,
Uh huh.
like you need to be ready to bargain. You need to know how to bargain. You
Yes.
know,
Yes. Brazil is the same thing. You can do that. It's okay doing that. Nobody's gonna
yeah,
get offended if somebody's selling his car for 10,000. You come and say, "I'll give you 5." Nobody's gonna get
yep,
offended. It's just
yep,
negotiation. And if you don't do, bad for you.
mhm,
Because
exactly,
whoever's selling, he knows that already. I'm gonna ask for 10, but I can go down up to 5,000. So.
exactly,
And that's
exactly.
it's funny because here in US, when I'm selling something, I have that mentality. Okay, I'm gonna sell this mug right here for five
Yeah.
dollars. So okay, I'm gonna announce for 10. And then somebody
Now,
goes and buy it for 10. I say, oh yes, awesome. Okay.
but it's
Okay.
true. I mean, like the only place I know that you can do is like eBay because it's built in. It's
Yeah,
built into the
yeah.
service. But on like Craigslist, like some people bargain, but no, you just buy it for what it is.
Yeah. Okay, Drew, you have another question for me?
Yeah. The
Okay, go
last
ahead.
question.
Yeah, I have my
Okay.
last one too.
Okay. So how has your game changed in every belt? I mean, you don't have to speak.
Oh.
You don't have to say like white belt. My game was a blue belt, but just like how has your game evolved over the belts?
Well, I didn't see my game changing at all, from white to black. What I noticed was some of my students telling me that I like to do something that I didn't notice I did. You know,
Mm,
it's like, oh, professor, you gotta teach me this because you like to do it a lot, right? It's no, I don't. I say, yes, you do. You do that all the time. He says, oh, yeah, you're right. I do all the time. I didn't notice that. Was just was just right there. And I
yeah, yeah,
think what changed was like especially getting older, like I became smarter. So I
yeah,
try to save my body as much as I can, like say spider guard, my knee hurts. Butterfly, my knee hurts. So everything that I hurt, I try to always change it. I won't do it. It doesn't make any sense to me. No, I'm not gonna do this. And of course, I'm more open to try new things because, like I said, I'm always learning. And also, I'm always having fun. Like I said, I never saw Roger Gracie berimbolo someone, right? But I do berimbolo people because it's fun. And I want to test myself. Man, can I do it? I'm 6'4". That would be cool. If I do this in a competition, man, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I do it, but for fun. I think in a competition, I wouldn't take that risk to do that.
Right.
But, I
Oh.
would, in the competition, I would be very basic, like Roger Gracie, like,
Well, it's like what you said though, like training is for experimenting, training's for taking risks, practicing escapes, and having that mentality that, I am experimenting, I'm learning. But competition, no. Competition is for your A game. I go there, I'm gonna play my game. And training is
yes.
also just to have fun, like you said, berimbolo is fun. Like berimbolo is not my game, but every once in a while I throw in a berimbolo just
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
fun.
It's fun
Yeah.
just to see if we can do it. Oh, I did it. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's funny because nobody expect that from me, from big guy. Like, people expect me to get on top and smash and be heavy, And I always like to play bottom and try to play those fancy things for fun. Okay, my
Nah.
last question to you, Drew. My last question. I want you to tell me two things. One thing that you don't like about Peru, okay,
Okay.
that you maybe hate about Peru, and
Yeah.
one thing that you love about Peru.
Okay. Um, okay. So yeah, I guess we'll start with the bad. Um, uh, whee, this is tough. So, I mean, I guess the thing that I don't like is actually kind of like that the the bargaining thing has its positives and negatives. Okay, because you have people that are honest in bargaining, like they're gonna sell it to you for a good price, but you're gonna negotiate. Okay, and then there's people just trying to rip you off. And when you allow, like, people are gonna rip you off no matter what, wherever you are in the world. But when you allow bargaining, a bargaining culture to happen, that will occur a lot, because that's part of the culture. And so they might try to sell you something, to rip you off, to scam you, sell you something cheap that's actually expensive, because they understand that I can bargain, I can make this, I can change the price. And so here there's actually a term for it. It's called like, I don't know why it's called this, but it's called being criollo, like Creole, you know. And it's that whole, like, just trying to make a quick buck. And so, like, as I said, like, the bargaining can be cool, but sometimes, like, it just gets annoying. You just want to just, like, no, this is the product, and this is the product, and this is the price. Sometimes I just really want that. Um, yeah. And then one thing I really love, I mean, I know I've said it a lot, but the food. I don't miss food in the United States. Sorry, guys, all of my friends. There's some decent food in the United States. There are some things I miss. I really miss the Southern breakfast, like the diner style breakfast, pancakes, waffles, eggs, the orange juice with your coffee, and I miss that. I miss
Bacon, sausage.
bacon, sausage, yeah. Some good burgers, some good pizza. But I mean, listen, I have those things down here as well, and there's so much more. There's just so much more. And so yeah, because I love the fresh fish. I love ceviche. I love fried fish. I love all like, I never ate shellfish until here, and now I eat shellfish. Um, oh my gosh, I mean, they cook like, for instance, I love how they cook pork here. So they have this thing here called a cajachina, and what it is, it's a way of smoking pork, but they give you pork ribs, but it's thick like this, and so you get this crispy outer shell, and it's the way it's just smoked, and it's soft and delicious.
The skin is crispy, right?
Yeah, the skin is
Yeah.
crispy, exactly. Oh my gosh, and then they have this fried pork. They make this delicious sandwich for fried sweet potato and an onion salad that's made with chilies and lime sauce, and you put it on bread. Oh,
Okay.
it's absolutely
What we
delicious.
have to lunch for lunch today at Drew's house?
Oh, actually, today is actually pretty delicious as well. So today, we are having beef that's slow cooked in an herb sauce. And it's called. It's funny because it's a very juicy. It's made with parsley and cilantro and a yellow chili that's not spicy, with
Mhm.
onions and garlic, and it's slow cooked in that. Um, and it's actually called seco de res, which means dry beef, but it's a play on words because it's actually very juicy. And it's delicious. You eat it with rice, or you eat with beans, or you eat with potatoes, and then you eat it with that. The onion salad is really classic. You have very thinly sliced onion that's cooked in lime juice, so it's actually a little bit cooked, and it can be mixed with cilantro or tomatoes, or chilies. It's
Man,
delicious.
I can smell it from here.
It's nice.
Okay, Drew. Man, thank you very much for your time, okay? It has been like 2 hours and 22 minutes, man. Time
Yeah, man, you told me this
flies.
hour. We've been talking way too long.
Yeah, time flies. So thank you very much, man. Good luck over there with your business, with your wife. I hope you can have lots of babies very soon, okay? Lots
Thank
of
you.
kids, lots of little Drews and Michelles around the house there, okay? And lots of
Thank
success.
you.
And I can't wait. And of course, man, when you come back, please give us a call. Let me know that you're here so we can hang out together, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hang. Don't worry about that. No, don't
Awesome.
worry about that. Going to train in the gym will be one of the first things I do. Now, and thank you for having me on. It's been great catching up, talking some jiu-jitsu, and not to quote Bernardo Faria, but it's been an honor.
It's been an honor. Okay, awesome. All right, my friend. Thank you very
Sure.
much. Take care, Drew. Bye.
Later. Bye.